somebody make this guy get sober. I know how beautiful of a human being this is. I was raised in the same house as this person.
Right.
I know his heart. I know his giftings. I know who he is, and who he is representing himself to be right now is not the person I know him to be.
Right.
I'm mad about that. You're messing up your life over here, and I can fix it. And what I would realize as my life with my brother would go on, every movement I had made with my brother previously, fighting with him verbally, in calling and check-in, in any way, my motive in all of those things was always fear. I believe that when God moves, it is often in spite of us, not because of us.
Bingo!
I am so tired of clinging to my rightness, as if that could make the hand of God move, as if my rightness is going to cause freedom, as if it's going to feed somebody, as if it's going to bring comfort to someone. It is never going to do that.
Right.
What brings comfort to someone is me sitting down with them and saying, I love you completely. I'm in a hospital with my brother probably 18 months ago, and I'm sitting next to his bed. On day like 2 or 3, he usually sleeps the whole day, and I'm sitting next to his bed, and he said, but every time I open my eyes and I see you sitting there, I know that I'm safe. I know you're watching out for me. So when he says that, I said, Jared, I hope you know how true that is. I hope you know how safe you are with me. And I, in that moment, got to have one of the most honest conversations Jared and I ever had.
Welcome back to another episode of the only podcast that warms you up more than eating a snow cone in Tibet. That's right, it's the Why Can't We Talk About That podcast. This episode is a sequel, a continuation of the conversation I had with Amanda Markstone at the end of January. So if you haven't yet, I highly recommend listening to episode 50 of this season before listening to this episode. If you want to reach out to me for any reason, you can contact me at whycan'twetalkaboutthat@proton.me. You should probably make sure that you have your tissue box next to you as you listen to this one. Amanda shares her heart in a raw and vulnerable way, and the things that she has learned through the passing of 2 of her siblings is something that we can all learn from. We all have loved ones that struggle with addiction, or loved ones that may be living lifestyles that we don't necessarily agree with, and the insights that Amanda shares might just change your entire outlook on how you handle those situations. Enjoy the conversation. So how's it going since last time? How's things going for you? Same old. Has it been that long? 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Or so?
Same old. Yesterday was Valentines Day, so that was exciting.
Yeah. So did you work?
Oh, yeah.
So was it gnarly busy?
Yep.
Do you guys do reservations over there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we recommend them. In fact, we've been, I want to say Friday, I got to work, and the phone's ringing off the hook, of course. Mm-hmm. And every time the person that's answering the phone is answering, she's getting progressively more irritated, which is not anybody's fault. But she's like, we are booked until our first available is Sunday evening at 8 o'clock. Do you want that? And they're like, no, I don't want that. I'm trying to come to Valentine's Day.
Right.
And
so why don't you just take the phone off the hook then? Can't you do that? I mean, you can't fit any more people, right? So
I guess you could. But I think then what happens is, because we live in a small community, your personal cell phone starts ringing.
Oh, no.
And so it makes it a little more effective just to answer it and be like, no.
Yeah.
But it was hilarious because by the time like, I don't know, 7 o'clock Friday evening came, we were booked out till Monday. Like, we're slammed right now, which is so beautiful and so wonderful.
So that's good, because those are like people that wanted Valentine's Day but couldn't get
but
it.
We'll take
We'll just celebrate Valentine's Day on Sunday.
That's exactly right. Whatever day we get together is Valentine's Day. Is the way these people think, which is great.
Yeah.
It's great for me. Yeah. I am not a Valentine's Day gal.
No.
No, I'm a hardcore proponent of love. But Valentine's Day is...
It's forced love.
It feels like that. That's exactly what it feels like. If you don't want to get me a card on a Thursday in August, telling me how much you love me, please don't do it on an arbitrary day.
See?
February.
Because then if you feel like you have to at that point. That's why Bethany loves when I just get just because.
Yes.
If I come home from work with flowers just on a Tuesday in March or something,
exactly
it's like, what's this for? No, nothing.
Because I love you and I was thinking about you, and that holds way more weight than every single person is getting something of a present today and I should get one too.
Right.
Like, nah.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah.
So we go to work last night and one of my coworkers, again, we've been doing this for a long time, so the tables at the restaurant there's a variety of sizes, 6 tops, 8 tops, 10 tops, 4 tops. But for Valentine's Day, the bulk of our customers are 2 tops, right?
Okay.
So we rent a bunch of little 2-top tables, pull the tables out. It's a completely different floor map. It is a completely different schematic.
Wow.
It's
smart.
Table numbers that don't exist in our regular working life. And so it gets a little crazy. But the best part about last night, and it was my favorite Valentine's Day probably I've ever worked.
Oh, nice.
And this is why. Because one of my coworkers brought... it's so stupid. She brought these, they're like face tattoos that are like temporary tattoos.
Okay.
And they're supposed to look like freckles, like if the young ladies would go to Ulta right now, they could go get them that look like little freckles.
Oh, I've seen them.
Okay, so they're very cute, whatever. But in this case, they're little hearts, they're confetti, glitter, they're whatever. So me and one of my coworkers are like, absolutely, we apply them. I mean, we're the openers, so we're there hours before the place even open.
Yeah.
So we apply them all across the bridge of our nose and our cheekbones. We start working, and again, instead of your section being, let's say, 5 tables, my section tonight is 10 tables.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a crazy evening. So as the evening goes on, I start to get a little like giddy, a little silly, goofy mood.
Yeah.
And I tell my friend that her and I had just put the stuff on her face. I was like, what if every hour we just go apply another one until someone stops us?
Okay.
So by the end of the night, my whole neck, which actually, this looks like a rash, but it's just still remnants of the glitter that I have not been able to get off. I've tried so hard.
No.
I've tried, anyway.
Yeah.
And my whole forehead, we did our eyebrows, I did my ears, I did, by the end of the evening, it was like from my forehead, from like the top of my hairline to just under my cheekbones.
Yeah.
And then my whole neck was done.
Wow.
But the best part is I'm having the best time. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I only have 2 tables pick up on it. And the best part is one of them is not even my table. And as I walk by, the lady stops me and she goes, hey, your ears, they're the next spot. They'll never see your ears. I was like, yes. So then I look over, I'm standing at my computer and putting in an order. And my boss, the owner of the restaurant, he is to my right and he is full blown staring at me.
Oh, really?
Like hardcore, I'm about to be in trouble. And I'm
no.
like, oh God.
Yeah.
And they're super mellow out there. Like, do your job, do it well, wherever he's cool. But I'm like, oh, he's for sure going to get annoyed.
Yeah.
He's just standing there staring. I'm like, don't even look at him, Amanda. Pretend you don't see him. Like, you never even know he's there. I refuse to look at him. I finally look over. He just stands there. And he's just staring at me.
Oh, no.
And as my eyes begin to zoom out of, I'm terrified. So I look directly at his face. I realize he's holding, like, a little paper towel. And he's cut us all up. Orange slices, and he's offering me an orange slice.
Oh, no way.
Nothing to do with the glitter, with the full-blown glitter
guilty
face
conscience
mask I have going on.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Anyway, I got home still giggling. By the time I got home last night, that was for sure one of the most hilarious nights I've ever had at work.
Was it just you and that one other coworker? It was just me and this
one other coworker,
okay.
And the best part is until it started to get really ridiculous, like no one noticed.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden it was like, you're covered in glitter. Or I had someone tell me it looks like what'd she say? It looks like you have a skin condition on your neck.
Yeah.
Because of course my girlfriend that's doing this with me, she's a fair skinned Latina girl, and so she has this beautiful fair skin, and mine is like pink moving into red.
Yeah.
So putting red glitter all over my neck, it literally just, I don't know, sores. Like I don't know what it looks like.
It's not,
Yes, it's sparkly eczema, but it looks like eczema. That's exactly right. Oh, it was so fun.
That's awesome.
It's so dumb and so fun.
Yeah.
We had the best time. End of the night, my other boss, my best friend, she walks up to me and she goes, I like all the sparkles. And I was like, dang it! Like, I was trying to get in trouble a little bit over here. She was being all positive, like, hey, I love how hard you went for the holiday.
That's
like,
so funny. What time did you end up getting out of there that night?
I didn't get out till 10 o'clock last night, a little before 10.
That's
and
not bad.
I opened. I did not close.
Oh, okay.
The previous night I closed, and I think I got out of there around 11.
Okay.
But I was probably almost a decade into working at the Hitching Post before someone asked me, it's so stupid, but for the first course we serve a bay shrimp cocktail for every dinner.
I've had it.
And if you don't want the bay shrimp cocktail, you can have tomato juice, or back in the day you could have a fruit cocktail.
Yeah.
Now, I'd never heard of the tomato juice, and I've been working there like a literal decade, and I have this older gentleman be like, I'd like tomato juice instead of the shrimp cocktail. I was like, I don't even have tomato juice. He's like, yes, you do. I was like, okay. I go in the back and I ask someone who's been there longer than me, hey, this guy's talking about tomato juice instead of a shrimp cocktail. And the lady who trained me is like, yeah, like I'm the idiot. And I was like, no one has ever told me this. She takes me, shows me right where all the things are, and there's little cans there. Been there this whole time. I never even saw it.
Well, it's probably because who in their right mind would want tomato juice over shrimp
Who would
cocktail?
want tomato juice in general?
Right.
In general.
Exactly.
Unless there's not a lot of ways. I wish I could be someone that drank like a V8 or like a Bloody Mary if I was that cool, but I just...
Yeah, V8, no. They when they came out with that V8 Splash, remember that?
Had, like,
that was
fruit,
okay. Yeah. That tastes more like a fruit drink, like a fruit juice. But yeah, when people just do straight up pureed tomatoes and celery and onions and stuff, it's like, I
like that over pasta. That's how.
Yeah, there you go.
That's my favorite.
That's what it is, right? It's basically spaghetti sauce.
As the person that makes the sauce, yes, it is. That's exactly what it is.
You're like, we have this back here anyway. We're making sauce. We might as well start offering it to people maybe that have a shellfish allergy or something.
Exactly. And I think because we stay so busy out there, when we have a slow night, not 30 people slow, but like we're having a more mellow night, we all just try to like enjoy it. Like, well, we don't get very many of these. Let's take it as a rest. This is almost a Sabbath, is what we're talking about here.
Right.
Are literally, we're out here chilling. And waiting tables is the best because it is, the other night we got a new computer system. So we didn't have computers for the first 60 years we were a restaurant or whatever. We got some sort of computer, maybe Aloha, like 8 years ago maybe. And they needed to be updated. They weren't updating, blah, blah, blah. We had to buy a new system. They buy a new system. They install it Monday. And Monday of this week, we end up, instead of having it be a slow day, we do enough dinners that it's basically a weekend. But we do it with only 3 of us because we weren't aware that it was going to get that busy or crazy, which is fine. We're all running like crazy. But I mean to tell you, trying to use a brand new computer system, and again, if you work in a restaurant, you'll know this, but it's not printing my salad tickets. It's printing weird to the kitchen. The cooks are upset. I can't find the buttons. Some of the buttons don't exist
or don't work. Up. Yeah.
And the guy is with us in active time, like debugging the system while we're running our tables. I'm looking around at my staff and I'm like, God, I'm so proud of all these girls. Like, nobody's freaking out. Nobody's yelling. And all of a sudden I hear from the kitchen, what is this on my ticket?
That was one of the cooks.
I was like, well, yeah, you knew it was one of the cooks. Right away, yeah. So, but it was at the end of that night. I gave every single person in that restaurant that I was working with a hug because it felt like we had just been to war together.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it really,
band of brothers.
Oh God, it really like you really bleed together in the trenches out there, and oh man, there's just nothing you can do some nights. And thank God for people that are patient and understanding, and we have such wonderful customers that it is. They don't hold it against us when we're defragging a new system, but my God, like genuinely. I work really hard at being good at my job, and I normally walk away at the end of the night like, I did a good job. Yeah. And that night I was like, I feel so sorry for every single person I waited on tonight. It's a 20-minute line at the computer because the person in front of you doesn't know what they're doing. The tickets aren't printing right, so they're getting in. Like, one of the first things we did was somebody put in like 38 lobster tails and 20 rib chops, and the kitchen's like, what is this? But it's just, we don't know the buttons yet. We've been told.
Oh, it wasn't a real order. I'll say that'd be
she was trying to
massive
order a
order.
lobster and a rib chop, and it comes to the kitchen, and now it's just the upside was we got to eat a lot of food that night that came back dead and unneeded because of our mistakes. At one point, I have a whole scallop dinner in my hand, and I'm just looking at my boss, and she's like, "Just go give it to the owner; he'll eat it. It's fine." Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Restaurants are wild, dude. They are lawless, wild places at times.
Yeah.
But really fun.
Yeah.
Definitely really fun. Oh, taxes are the worst. I haven't done mine yet. I'm waiting for a couple more things to come in the mail let me rephrase that. I check my mail almost never.
So it's probably
I'm waiting for me to walk to the mailbox. That's what I'm waiting for.
I haven't checked my mail in years. Bethany always is the one that does it. Unless I know something's coming.
That's we do everything online. Like there is like maybe one bill that comes in the mail, and then besides like medical stuff, and that's
Yeah.
Or maybe the gas company.
Yeah. It's only if I order something. If I order like some that's coming in a package, then I'll be like, oh, is the mail here yet? The mail here yet?
Do you guys have like a mailbox that holds packages, like a big one?
Well, it's one of those community mailboxes, yeah.
And it has like the key
and the
in the
two bottom
bottom.
ones are the big, yeah. And ours, thankfully, ours is like literally right across the street. So I mean, the people around they got to walk all the way over here. I mean, not that it's far, but you know, I feel bad. There's
They
an
can
old guy that
drive
lives down
if
the
they
street.
want.
Yeah. I see this like 80-year-old guy's walking with his cane down. I was like, oh
love
man,
it.
don't you wish you lived in my house? You could just go right there. You know?
Sir, would you like to trade your houses?
Yeah. Oh,
what you
man.
don't know though is that walk is what's keeping that 80-year-old man fresh.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Could be. So I have no idea how long this is going to go today. So
I don't either. It's
we'll
gonna
just
go
let it
fast.
ride and we'll let it see. Because I wrote down a couple things like I told you from last time that we were in. We'll just see how we flow. If it goes 45 minutes, cool. If it goes 6 hours, whatever.
I had one of my best friends. Her and I have been having some conversations. The cop.
Oh, okay.
Some
Yeah.
conversations, and she definitely didn't tell me anything. She did not tell me I'm stupid. She did not tell me I did a bad job. But what she told me was that I did not make myself as understood in what I was trying to say as I should have.
Okay.
And talking with her about what she heard and saw and understood, it gave me a lot of places to meditate before I came back today. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
So anyhow, but mostly good. And the truth is, mostly I've heard a little. I've maybe heard from like 5 people, like my bestest friends, a couple of friends from around the way.
Yeah.
My uncle, the Baptist pastor, who I told you his daughters are the ones who were like, you know, we're liberals over here, Amanda. We're literally, we love Jesus. We vote for Democrats. I was like, what? He put on my post, he messaged and said like, you know, great conversations, really enjoyed the listen. And I was like, oh, everyone's being so generous and kind. When I met my husband, we're dating, we're talking, whatever. We're on the phone one night, and I am in my hard R Republican days at this point, and convinced that it's the right way.
Yeah.
And as if there was a right way politically. Anyway,
Right. Jesus was a Republican.
He was. That's what I heard about him.
He was white and
I heard he was an
too.
illegal alien also.
Yeah, he was.
That's weird.
Yeah, he was a white illegal alien.
No, he was not white. Oh my god. I can't.
I'm kidding.
I know. It took me.
That's what people say, though. People say that.
It's because we have all these pictures of someone
blonde hair,
who's
blue-eyed Jesus.
Oh, I
Yeah.
can't. Anyway.
Usually with a British accent.
Oh, my favorite. Anyway, I meet my husband and we're talking about politics and stuff, and I was like, hey, listen, I don't know. Remember, this is 20 years ago, Amanda, so just 18, 19-ish years ago. Baby Amanda. But I'm telling him, like, I just don't know, like, I don't know if I could bring you home to my parents if you're a Democrat, like, real talk. And he goes dead silent. And, like, I had been, like, lightly making a joke. Yeah. And then I said, babe, what? He's like, it's worse than that. I said, it's worse than that. He goes, yeah. I said, it's worse than you being a Democrat? Like
there's anything worse.
Like, what could you, like, what? And he goes, so I'm a history major, and in college, so I'm actually, I'm a registered socialist. I'm a registered socialist. And
Can you be a registered socialist?
I believe it's a political party affiliation.
Interesting.
Socialist, yeah.
Okay.
Which made me laugh, and also, in my like pie in the sky version of the world, I'm a socialist too. We should all be contributing, and we should all be able to utilize the things in our system. Does it work on a system-wide thing? No. He knows that also. But it blew my mind at the time. I was like, what?
Yeah.
A registered socialist?
Right.
What?
Well, I mean, when you look at Scripture and the Book of Acts, and you see the way the early church did, it was very like that, right? They put everything in a pot and be like, okay, Bob needs food down the street. Let's get him some food. But, you know, Jane over here, she's doing pretty good this week, so she doesn't need anything extra. And it kind of goes to everybody. And I think, I'm not a socialist, but I think that a system like that could work. But there's a lot of
Evil
really important aspects that need to go in, which is what you just said. You have to have pure of heart people that are truly looking out for everyone else all the time and not trying to mooch the system for themselves, which is why I don't think it would ever work in America.
Well, it can't. I don't know that it can be done anywhere because somehow power corrupts and somehow greed breeds greed, and it becomes, there's like a shell corporation at the top that's doing something else.
Right.
And then you have all the pure of heart people, you know, babysitting each other's kids and sharing their rice and beans and living a great life. But you're right. It's so difficult because you just can't trust anybody, especially not
Yeah.
hi, we're the government and we're here to help. Right. I don't think so.
Oh, you don't buy that when they say that? Oh.
No, and I'm for small government anyway, raised Republican, all that stuff. Like, stay out of my business is the way I feel about that. Yeah. Let me pay my taxes and then you stay out of my business.
Yep. I'm with you.
So, okay. But that's not really how it goes, unfortunately.
No, it's not. Mm-hmm. So that's why I tell people, like, I'm not a socialist, but I do see why there are some aspects that seem like they would work and should work if people weren't so evil.
Yeah.
That's
if this was
issue.
the kingdom of heaven instead of the kingdom of this world.
Correct.
Right?
Exactly.
Like,
right.
Because Jesus tells his disciples, don't take an extra shirt, don't put money in your belt, don't take you a loaf of bread.
Right.
You're going to go to the next village.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to have everything you need there for you. The people will take care of you. Like, you're good.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It is.
It could be. It's potentially beautiful.
It is beautiful. It just gets ruined, but it is beautiful.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so I want to start with this one, even though we didn't really talk about this, I don't think. But since it's happened, I'm just curious as to your thoughts. Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Bad Bunny.
Okay.
Were you a fan of Bad Bunny before the Super Bowl already, or did you watch him going like, I've never heard of this guy?
No, I definitely know who Bad Bunny is.
But like you knew his music too?
I know a reasonable amount of his music.
Okay.
My sister Huli, big fan of Bad Bunny.
Okay.
And a lot of my friends. And again, the radio and just being out in life. But I'm not a fan of Bad Bunny. Like, I don't know if I've ever searched his name on my Apple Music to look up his music. Do I enjoy it if I'm out somewhere and the music comes on and I'm dancing and what? Yes, of course I do.
But you wouldn't buy his music per se.
I have never. God, I haven't bought music in.
That's true. I think I'm the only person that still buys CDs.
I bless you for doing so. I'm sure all of the musicians are like, who is this one guy in Santa Maria, California?
That's right. He's loading it up.
So yeah, not a huge fan of Bad Bunny.
Okay.
But I am a huge fan of football. I am a huge fan of Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Again, in our family, Christmas is a high holiday.
Yeah.
Super Bowl is the second high holiday.
Right.
It's everybody comes home. It doesn't matter where you are. We have had exactly one Super Bowl anywhere else as a family. It was my house. I think I told you.
Oh, you did, and then they said we're never doing this again.
Never again. This will not happen, lady.
So sad.
Yeah, I know. It is.
That would have made me sad.
But it did at the time. At the time, I was like, well, this is garbage.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, I could just go to your house and have a party over there. That's fine.
Right. And then you don't have to cook. You don't have to do none of that stuff. You leave all the mess and go back to your house.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So there you go.
The way I feel about Bad Bunny's halftime show is I don't.
Okay.
I don't find it to be. First of all, I don't find the game of football to be holy or Christ-like, or I don't find the athletes to be someone I want my children to be like.
Sure.
But I very much enjoy the game. I very much enjoy rooting for a team.
Yeah.
I very much enjoy screaming at the television. Again, like in our family, like for example, my parents have they have a TV outside and they have a TV inside, and the outside TV was going to be tuned to the TPUSA halftime show.
Yep.
But at one point I had gone outside and I was outside and I had changed a channel and watching the Super Bowl and my family's inside and I'm outside and there's a delay between the TVs and my TV's faster. And I am hollering because we just had a pick and we went for 6 or whatever it was. Anyway, I am screaming because they just scored the first touchdown of this entire game and we're in like the third quarter and it's only been field goals so far.
Okay. So you were going for the Patriots, I'm guessing. Yes?
No, I was not going for the Patriots.
Oh, you're not?
No, I was not.
Oh.
I just was excited because a touchdown had been scored. Genuinely.
Oh, right.
I was cheering.
I was mad at that point.
Finally had a touchdown.
Do you know why I was mad?
Because your score changing.
No,
your numbers.
I don't even play the pools. I vote. I every year I go for the same team every year. Nachos. And whenever you go for the team Nachos, you're happy. You win every year.
First of all, I love nachos.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
There should always be nachos.
There always is on Super Bowl. Always for me. That's what I'm saying.
That's reasonable.
That's why I'm there.
And if I come over at halftime next year, it'll be for nachos.
Nachos.
The nachos win.
Yeah. But the reason I was upset is because I was hoping it was 12-0 on nothing but field goals. And if they would have continued that trajectory to the end of the game, 2 records would have been broken. There's never been a Super Bowl one with no touchdowns, and there's never been a shutout. Ooh. And I'm like, just keep kicking field goals. Get down with 21-0 or something, Let's do it,
That would have been really fun.
But then they scored the touchdown. I was like, oh, now I got nothing to root for.
Ruined it.
Yeah.
I'm outside hollering. I come back inside and my entire family's looking at me like, what are you yelling about?
Yeah.
And I look at their TV and I was like, oh, you guys are delayed in here. They're like, no, we're not. I said, yes, you are. I said, watch this play. Watch this play. This guy's gonna, it's gonna look almost like it's gonna be an interception. Ball drops on the ground. Next play, he hits a sideline, keeps his feet in bounds, and the next play's a touchdown. Boom, boom, boom. These 3 things happen. And
they're like, you're prophetic.
And they're like, no. They're like, dang it, we must have paused the TV and we didn't know. Da, da, da. But in our family, we get very loud about our sporting events.
Sure.
We get very excited. It is a very fun thing to do. My parents, historically, if their team's not playing, my dad would go to the gas station and buy a Pats hat and a Seahawks hat, and one of them would wear each of the hats and root for each of the teams.
Oh, that's fun.
Yes.
Just so you would have some
yes, just so we have some competition in the house. We like it. And so, in this case, though, none of our teams are playing.
Yeah.
And
who's your team?
I don't have a team. I'm the only
Really?
one. I know, it's so stupid, but
as much as you love football.
I love football. Okay, so my parents are Charger fans.
Okay.
My sister Melissa is a Broncos fan.
Yeah.
My brother Jared is a Bears fan.
Okay.
My husband is a Buccaneers fan. And I love the game of football. I do not like the Cowboys. I know who I don't like, right?
You don't
I know
like the
I'm rooting
Cowboys.
Against.
Okay.
I'm rooting against the Patriots every single time I get a chance.
Okay.
But I have just never affiliated myself with any team. I just enjoy the game.
Okay.
And I will root for a team, but I don't have a jersey. Not that I wouldn't like one. I just don't have one. So anyhow, I get to my parents' house and my dad's talking about how the TPUSA halftime show is going to be going outside. And
is that because some people there wanted to watch Bad Bunny and some people wanted to watch the TPUSA?
It is because my father believed that I wanted to watch Bad Bunny, and I do. I want to watch the halftime show.
You were like the only one, though? Everyone else wanted to watch TPUSA? Okay.
Yeah. Well, wanted to watch or felt compelled by some...
like to not watch Bad Bunny.
Spiritual correctness to not watch Bad Bunny.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know the two. You'd have to ask them. But when I get there, I'm talking to my dad, and he's like, hey, are you going to watch the halftime show? And I was like, yes, I am. I do plan to watch it. And he said... I said, I don't plan to watch it. I said, why? And he said, well, I don't like his lyrics. And I said, you looked up the translation of his lyrics? He's like, yeah. And I didn't like him. I said, okay. And
he did this prior to the...
He did this prior to...
Oh, see, most people didn't do that till after the fact.
Right. And, and the thing is, too, is, like, you probably didn't read his entire discography. I don't know what songs that my dad read. I don't know if he had a set list already printed of what he was going to be doing at the Super Bowl, but I do not believe
Right, yeah. So you could have got songs that weren't even offensive.
Yeah, totally. So, or that were highly offensive. Could have been either way.
Right.
So, anyhow, he tells me he's going to watch the TPUSA one outside, which I don't care. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Kid Rock?
Yeah.
Is who we're holding up as a bastion of holiness?
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad you're bringing this up because this is what I want to talk about.
Bro.
Go ahead. I'll tell you my thoughts when you're done.
I said, Dad, did you know that in the lyrics of one of his songs, his quote is, I like him young, I like him underage.
Yeah.
You say it's statutory, I say it's mandatory.
Yeah.
How is that on the Trinity Broadcasting Network?
Yeah.
What, first of all, to try to make something holy out of a pagan ritual that is purely for entertainment is crazy to me.
Yeah. And
then to look at two people, and I'm going to argue this. And my mom sat and watched the halftime show with me just because she ended up in the room when we were BSing. But we're sitting there talking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. They literally made the fields. Like, that's so cool how they had reflected the culture and where he comes from and all that stuff.
Totally.
The kid asleep on the chair that got woken up. Every party I've been to my entire life, somebody's kid's asleep either on a chair or under a table. That is real Latino culture right there.
Right.
And my mom is talking about, well, Bad Bunny said that he hates America. I said, did he say he hates America, or did he say...
He said he'd never play here.
And then I said, Ma, if I lived in a territory of the U.S. and I already was paying a bunch of money for my groceries, and then I've got rolling blackouts to deal with, and no power, no money, no water, no food, and my parent company is treating me like a redheaded stepchild, I might be upset at the government. Yeah. And she was like, I could see that. Yeah. And I was like, right. And then he had them on the power poles and stuff. Dude, I just thought, and again, I'm not fluent in Spanish, so I don't understand every single thing that was said. Yeah. But I loved the vibe of it. I love that he, there was a duality in the messaging, right? There was a duality in that he's showing you a family-friendly performance. But when you're listening to the words of his songs, he's saying something, like he's really saying something. Yeah. And I kind of like that. Okay. But no. So I had multiple people tell me before the show. I had heard of Bad Bunny, obviously. But as far as I know, I've never heard a single song of his, unless, like you said, playing in a store or something. Maybe.
possible. But I wasn't really familiar. And I did a podcast episode with a girl the Friday before the Super Bowl, and she was telling me, she gave me some songs to look up.
Okay.
I never did. I still haven't. I have to. But when I watched the show, the Super Bowl halftime show, honestly, this is my honest opinion, and this is with none of that stupid like political bias that people were going into. I'm talking about just the music. Well, first of all, let me tell you what I liked first. I agree with you. I thought the set was cool. I thought the people coming out in the bushes and the whole thing. Yeah, that was really cool. Yes.
That was so cool.
That was really neat.
Yeah.
The whole set design was really cool. The performance itself was great. I can appreciate all of that, all the time and the work that it went in to choreograph that and to make all that work. I can't even imagine how many hours that took, and talent. But I thought the music was absolutely terrible. And it wasn't the beat, it wasn't the music itself, it was his vocals.
Do you listen to music in Spanish in general?
There's a few Spanish bands I like. I mean, it's the cliche one everybody listens to.
Like Maná?
Maná. I was just going to say Maná.
Yeah.
I love Maná.
Yeah.
I have no idea what they're saying. But that's what I mean about the political side. There's so many people like, I'm not going to listen to Bad Bunny because he's going to sing in Spanish. What are you? What's
Like what?
Yeah, are you something wrong with your brain?
Also,
what is wrong with you? Like, who cares? So what? Honestly, my personal thing is, because I never know what they're going to say, and if it's going to be offensive to me or my kids or stuff, my kids are going to hear.
Right.
I would prefer it be in another language. I'm like, this is great. Nobody in my household has any idea what this guy's saying.
Right.
And that's why after the fact, a lot of people, as you probably saw, were looking up the translation. Like, oh my gosh, this is very sexually explicit. I'm like, not in my house, it wasn't, because nobody knew what he was saying now. But then I'm like, okay, but like, what about like, obviously Spanish is a widely spoken language in our country. There's plenty of households where the young kids do know Spanish.
And I would argue
so if they're
the kids
hearing
in those
that,
households already hear Bad Bunny.
it could be. Could be, but then that's a whole other conversation, right? As far as like what you're going to expose your kid to.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the people back, I remember back when the Janet Jackson thing happened, right? It was like this big deal. It's like, oh my gosh, she's a nip slip. Oh no!
I had the entire staff of the church my ex-husband was on staff at in Texas.
Yeah.
In my living room for a Super Bowl party.
Nice.
While Janet Jackson's breast is revealed on live TV.
Awesome.
The most awkward of any room in the United States of America.
It's like dead silence.
Moment. Like dead silence.
What just happened?
Dead silence.
Yeah.
Someone's face is red. Someone's running out of the room. Oh.
But see, my point in bringing that halftime show up is that even prior to that, when was that? Early 2000s that happened? So prior to that, you go on MTV any day of the week, you see more skin than Janet Jackson even came close to showing, right?
Yes.
It's like commonplace. Pop videos, all this stuff, concerts, you're seeing it all over the place. The reason why America was so upset is because it's like what you just said. They've made this like Super Bowls like this.
It's like a virtue signaling
in
event.
a sense.
Since when?
Well, no. People see it as like this all-American, family-friendly.
Yes.
All the family's over. We're eating chili dogs. We're watching the Super Bowl. This is America, kind of a thing. And for that to be like in their face when they weren't expecting, like, oh my gosh, cover your eyes, Bobby, or whatever, kind of a thing.
Totally.
To where if you went on MTV, you would expect that. It would be normalized. You're like, oh, this is every day. You walk downtown LA on a Friday night, you're going to see that all over the place.
Yes.
So if somebody that didn't want their kids to see that, you just wouldn't go downtown LA on a Friday night. But if you're doing something you think is going to be family friendly and safe, and then that comes out, you're like, ooh.
Yeah.
It'd be same if you're watching the show and the musicians dropping F-bombs or something. You'd be like, ooh. Not that you don't expect a rapper to be doing that, but this is the Super Bowl. This is national TV. Like this is going out to everybody.
Dude, do you remember what they couldn't show on TV when we were kids?
Yes. Oh, I know. It was crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
I watched a I don't know if it was a congressperson or a senator coming out of the post reading the Epstein unredacted files come out and use the F word on TV. Which I'm not opposed to the F word. I use it.
Yeah.
My mouth is very fluid.
Right.
But it is interesting to think about the things that were acceptable. I mean, you almost had to be on Comedy Central late at night if you wanted to hear anything that was like a little bit off color, or if you were like touching on more touchy subjects. Like, and again, I don't know.
Yeah.
I hear
Comedy Central is a good example because that's the only network that would pick up South Park when it came out.
God, South
because no one else would do it, even though they were bleeping most of the words in South Park. most networks wouldn't touch it. They're like, there's no way we have things like The Simpsons and King of the Hill, which gets away with a little bit of swearing here and there, maybe a little bit of sexual stuff, but nothing like South Park, right?
Nothing like South Park.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing like South Park.
And now it's like everybody's like, oh, South Park's been around for 40 years now. It's this great show,
So here's the thing about that that's wild, right? Because you're right. When you look at when South Park first comes out, there is opposition to it. Christians are very upset. Now we're 20 years removed from that, and I mean, like, I've never been a South Park fan, but I've seen South Park episodes. But I know plenty of, like, Jesus-loving people who like South Park.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, whereas the moral outrage was so heavy in the beginning.
Yeah.
And, did the morality of it change? Probably not.
Right.
It's an interesting, that's an interesting thing to think about.
It
The
is.
Super Bowl, for me, I love the Super Bowl. And the truth is, I have been interested in the halftime show every year, and some years I hate it. Some years I do not like it at all. Some years it's wonderful.
Well, last year was Kendrick Lamar, right? Was that last year?
Loved it.
And it was just his. A few years before that, it was him with everyone else.
He was one of the special guests, for Dre and them. Or even like Shakira and J-Lo. I listened to J-Lo in the early 2000s, as we all did when we were when we were getting ready to go out dancing.
I always thought she was terrible.
So
personally speaking,
super fun,
decent actress, terrible,
very
pop
beautiful
singer,
to look at.
Oh, of course.
But oh god, the worst music, right?
Yeah.
But I enjoyed that halftime show. Oh my god, I enjoyed that halftime show.
I don't remember
those
that one.
ladies did a great job.
I don't know if I saw that one.
I don't know. I don't. It is hard as a Christian sometimes not to get hung up on ridiculous things because somehow we feel like we need to, like we must, like I have to make I have to take a hard stand on this. Like, for what?
Right.
For what?
Yeah.
Turn the TV off.
Yeah.
That's what my friend Kendrick says. Turn that TV off.
Is that what he says?
He says, turn this TV off. There's a song all about it.
Which, by the way, I'm digging that album, by the way. Yeah, I haven't quite branched into the other ones yet, but...
I am still stuck on, I was talking to my friend, I'm on the 21 Pilots. I went to... So, what's the first one? The first one I had listened to was Breach, right? That's the most recent one?
Yeah. Okay. You started backwards.
And then I went backwards. And then I went backwards and started over.
Yeah. Okay.
And I got to...
Started over like with the first album?
I did not listen to the first album because I was recommended by you and my other friend to start with...
Vessel.
Yes. What's the one right after Vessel?
Blurry Face. No. Yes, Blurry Face. Blurry Face. Yes. Yeah.
So, Vessel.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yes.
Blurry Face, I cannot get away from.
Yeah.
And I had been talking to my friend. I was like, I feel like I need to go. Like, I need to get back to. I want to go back and listen to Vessel the way I listened to Breach, the way I listened to Blurry Face. And my friend said, the way these albums work is they will let you know when they're done with you, and then you'll move on to the next album.
Right. That's a cool way to say it.
Point taken. I will continue listening to this on repeat until I am ready to move on.
Until you're sick of it.
That's right. Oh, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Well, and I think there's a lot of hardcore 21 Pilots fans that they'll say they like Blurry Face, but that's when they blew up. When Blurry Face released,
which makes
Stressed
sense because
Out,
they're
Ride,
talking.
all these songs came out, and everybody knows who 21 Pilots is. So we all got kind of played out on a lot of those songs. But it is a fantastic album. I mean, it's a phenomenal album.
So that was what surprised me when I started that album is whatever the first song was.
Heavy Dirty Soul.
Oh,
yeah.
Heavy Dirty Soul. Oh,
because it's so fast.
It's so good. It's so true. It's so good. And then you go into Blurry Face, and I was like, wait, I know this song. I know 80% of the words of this song.
Oh, yeah.
The next song comes on. Oh, wait, I know this song.
Yeah.
No lie. I'm sitting there and I'm like, I thought that was Imagine Dragons. No lie.
Oh, really?
Again,
which one, Ride?
Yes.
Because it's kind of reggae sounding?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I had, but again, a lot of my music I was listening to on the radio for many years as opposed to owning albums. And so I'm not seeing who the artist is. I'm not even seeing the title of the song. I'm just listening to it as it's playing.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised that I knew that I was familiar with a couple of those songs. When it gets to, it's the song Lane Boy.
Oh, Lane Boy. That's a good one. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
That's a good one.
Dude. I really enjoy that song.
Yeah.
That I really enjoy that album, but it's
lyrically it's just so clever. Like the way he writes is so clever.
The lyrics are clever, but also in the Lane Boy song, they go the number of not just like beat switches or like a musical change, but a full we're moving from metal to reggae.
Yes.
We're moving from reggae to rap.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. It's all my little ADHD buttons and all my little squirrels.
Yeah, see, and that's the one critique I would have for like the later albums. Probably
they don't go as
well. Like with Clancy and Breach and even Scaled and Icy, like they're great. They're great albums, and Breach especially. I love Breach, awesome album. But I feel like they kind of lost that they had in Vessel and Blurry Face, and even Trench had a lot of that, to where it was a lot of those switch ups. And I feel like Vessel's full of those. Like even the first song, Ode to Sleep, it's like, what am I feel like I'm listening to 5 songs smashed into one song.
I love it.
You know, and it's just like if it was a longer song, what they do back in the old days, they make this is a rock opera, like Green Day's American Idiot, right? And you have like here's one track, it's 12 minutes long, but there's 6 songs in this one track, you know, or whatever. They would have done something like that, but that's why I really like the older, and there's more rapping in Vessel and Blurry Face, I think. To where later on it gets more singing. They brought some of it back for Breach, which was kind of cool. But yeah, it's just so good. And the lyrically on Vessel, there's that song Migraine. Did you get to the song Migraine? My gosh. It's just like it's like you get it, you know.
It's my favorite thing about the entire universe we live in is the fact that we are all having the same experiences together, slightly differently, and that every single thing in my life moves me towards my creator.
Yeah.
It is, whether it is the lyric of a song I've never heard before that's like, that is literally exactly what I'm going through in my life.
Yeah.
That is exactly the conflict I feel. That is exactly why I can't figure this out.
Yeah.
Or where I was sitting when I was whatever. It is, I love so much that every single thing will point me back to my creator. And when I look at music that like, yesterday I had a friend send me a song that, there's a line in it, and the song is about the way kind of the machine of ministry chews up and spits out our pastors. And there's a line in the song, and it talks about like, smile big, show all your teeth, those bruises are really nice accessories, suck it up kid, this is ministry.
What song is that? Do you know who that is? Send me that later if you think of it.
I'll send it to you later.
Yeah.
And it I love how music and lyrics, like, I rewound that line 4 times before I even had finished the song one time. That line hit me so square. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I totally know what you mean. That's why I'm laughing, because there's been songs like that too. It's like you can't even get past that lyric. It just impacts you so heavy. You're like, wait a minute.
And it impacts you in a way.
Did you just say that?
Yes. And it impacts you in a way that has like a ripple, because like the first layer is my pride or my ego or my whatever.
Yeah.
And then the second layer is the truth. And then the third layer is what I'm going to do with it. And then the fourth layer is how that affects me and every other person in my community.
Right.
And it is wild to watch everyone you know struggling through the same things. And when I was a kid, I used to think that to be like a good Jesus follower, you had to be a pastor, you had to be a missionary.
Yeah.
You had to dedicate your life to Christ. You had to give him back your gifts or whatever. And I think it's wild that I'm going to say secular band or rapper or singer or whatever could write words that are so glorifying to their creator.
Yeah.
That I am being inspired over here or convicted over here or making changes in my life over here.
Right.
Like, you didn't write a song that was like, I love Jesus so much, Jesus is the best.
Yeah.
That's me glorifying God with my talent.
That's cliche though.
It
right?
is cliche, but it also, what it is it's the surface level.
Right.
It's the very top. It's it is the baby Christian perspective.
Yeah.
It is the like all or nothing kind of a if I have a skill, I must use it for God. If I'm a carpenter, I have to make a cross. No, you don't. Make me a bench so I could sit on it and eat dinner with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
The God is glorified, the creator is glorified when creation is active and when it's actively creating.
Yeah.
And it is it will never cease to amaze me that God could take something that has nothing to do with me, that wasn't written for me. No one was thinking about my life circumstances.
Right.
And then because God breathed on it divinely, reveals it to me in a certain kind of way, it hits the inside of me in a way where I have to rewind that line 4 times. I'm going to probably get mad. Then I'm going to go repent. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, there is something about it that is just,
right.
I love it so much.
Well, and a lot of that stuff for the artist who's creating that song, that's the therapy to themselves,
Yes.
right? They're writing it because of something they went through or something they're dealing with, yet it can be used in ways that ministers to us in a way that's like, oh, wait a minute, like I get this guy. I feel like I am this guy.
Yes.
Right? And this guy doesn't know me.
Yes.
He doesn't know. I mean, that's why with 21 Pilots, I've always said, because they are Christians, but they don't market as a Christian band. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how many people I meet and I talk to them about it, like, oh, that's a Christian band. What? You know, they don't have no idea. But they do it so subtly. Mm-hmm. I've said before, I think 21 Pilots has the most Christian lyrics out of any band I've ever heard. And they don't, I think he says Jesus once on the first album. Right. And that's it. You never hear the name Jesus ever again.
Oh, Downstairs is one of the most worshipful songs I've ever heard in my life.
Right.
But I think that when you are a person who lives your life from a place of worship, you're going to recognize that. Mm-hmm. And if you're not, you're going to think it's a catchy song. And mm-hmm. that's cool too, because guess what? Those words are going to sit inside of you.
Right.
And, you know, some are going to plant, some are going to water. God's going to give the increase, and we'll see where we end up.
Right.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying and really having a hard time getting away from 21 Pilots.
I did too, especially from Glory Phase. When Glory Phase came out, I couldn't even... It was on rotate for like probably 6 months straight. Again,
my little squirrel brain loves to listen to the same music over and over.
Yeah.
Over and over and over.
And then you start learning the words and you start singing along, especially like fast rap parts like in Heavy Dirty Soul.
Oh
and
my
it's
God.
Like, which there was a time where I could do that one, like in my car. I could actually sing along.
Maybe the next time I'm here, I don't know why I just made us a third appointment, but
you never know.
But it feels like we should karaoke that song.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. That would be that would be something that would be.
Are you the drummer or am I the drummer?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be singing.
Okay. Well, then
you're the rapper, so you could be the rapper.
That is facts.
Yes.
That's facts.
I'm the DJ. He's the rapper.
Ooh,
right?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes,
No,
I do.
he's the DJ. I'm the rapper. That's what it was. I mixed it up. Have you heard of NF? Did I ask you that before?
I don't know what NF is.
NF, he's a rapper?
Mm-mm.
Really? Okay.
What kind of rap? Like Bay Area?
No, he's from... I think he's from Michigan, actually, like Eminem. Okay. But and I know Eminem's a big influence of his. In fact, if you listen to his first album, you can tell he's trying to sound like Eminem.
What?
But later on, he doesn't. NF. It's just in the letters N. It's Nathan Feuerstein. I'm sure you've heard some of his stuff.
So that's my problem. Is like I don't know the name, but I bet you I've heard some.
I think it was "Let Me Go" was probably a big popular song. I think it was
"Let You Down."
Let You Down. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You probably heard that one.
I think I have.
Yeah. So he's got some stuff.
Well, I'm gonna have to listen when I'm done with my current fixation, which is 21 Pilots.
Lyrically, just dude,
I love that.
Whoa!
I love to have my mind blown. There's nothing I love more than my mind getting blown. There's nothing I love more than being pushed out of the position I was holding. There's nothing I love more than and it's painful, uncomfortable, embarrassing at times. However, I just give me more truth.
Right.
Give me more clarity.
Right.
Correct me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to add that guy to my list.
You are. And I'm gonna say it right now. That way, when you're listening to the episode again, you're gonna hear this.
Sweating. Well, I'm saying sweating.
Yes. And when I say this, I want you to stop the podcast and I want you to put this song on. Put on The Search. By NF. And be in a place where you have good speakers and you can kind of turn it up a little bit.
Kinda. It's always
okay. Good. Yeah. And then it's going to mess you up.
I love it.
You're going to be just chills all over your body.
I love it. I love it.
And if you don't have that, you might want to make a doctor appointment to see if there's something wrong with your sensory faculties.
I will let you know. I'll call the doctor if I need to.
No, it's just amazing. Just amazing. Wow. All right, where do I want to go now? I wrote down a bunch of stuff, just what you were just saying right there, because I know that we didn't touch a lot on a whole lot of spiritual stuff last time, so I have a lot of that here. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to figure out if I want to kind of end with that. Even though, you know what, all of this is kind of scripture related, or not scripture, like Christian related. You said something, let's start here. You said something last time, and again, if I'm messing up your quotes, it was just
please go ahead
off the fly, so you can correct me if this is not what you said. But you basically said, and these are kind of the same question, but after talking with people who have had abortions, you will have way less of an opinion on it.
Yeah.
And then you said the same thing with if you know someone who is gay.
Correct.
So break that down. I mean, it's the same concept applying to two different topics, but kind of break down what you mean by that.
So I think I'm about to tell you a story in order to do that.
Okay.
When I was young, my brother got married. Mm-hmm. My brother, who, again, I'm raised in a beautiful Christian home with people who, my parents are not like typical traditional Christians who go to church on Sunday and then never live their life any sort of way. My parents were like really about loving Jesus. My parents really shared whatever they had with whoever the community was around them. We had felons live with us. My parents employed anybody. They would pick you up and give you a ride to church. Any kid could come to our house at any time. My mom would feed you. Like, whatever they had, they would share with you in the most gospel-oriented, like, this is the heart of Jesus. That I, like, not just feeding the homeless. Like, my parents really lived their lives in a serving and communal sense. They patterned for us what it looked like to love in an incredibly wild way that at the time I didn't realize how ridiculous it was, and I mean that in the best way.
I was gonna say, like, ridiculous in a good way. Yeah,
the best way. My brother would go on to get married, and he and his wife would have 2 daughters. At some point, and I don't want to get too far into this because my brother did not openly address it when he spoke to you, although he alluded to it as well. My brother will find himself in a situation where his wife has stepped outside the marriage.
Right.
And I want to say this, first of all, I love my sister-in-law, my ex-sister-in-law, the mother of my nieces.
Yeah.
She's an incredible mother. She's an incredible woman. She is someone that I love forever. And this story is not about her sin. This story is about my sin.
Right.
So my sister-in-law would be unfaithful. My brother and her would continue to try to put it back together. And a lot of what would come out of that was sickness. A lot of it was bad. A lot of it was unhealthy. And when essentially the news came to our family, so after they tried to put it back together for some period of time, they decide they can no longer continue to make this attempt. It's not going well. They've done all the counseling, they've done all the things they can do, and it's not working. So, okay, we're going to call it. In the end of that, my brother will get, they've made a decision that that this is the end date of the marriage, post Christmas. Let's give the kids another Christmas together. And in the interim time between that time period coming to a close, my sister-in-law will find some stuff on my brother's phone with another woman that she does not like, and will cause, instead of this will cause like a clash that will leave deep scars in our family forever.
Oh, wow.
And it is, I'm sitting here and I have been, I know it's right. You're not supposed to step outside your marriage when you're married, right? Like, I know it's wrong. This is wrong. I know I'm upset about a variety of things. And what I do is I get set up as a hitter, if I'm being totally honest. My parents want to keep their hands clean. Sorry, guys. And I'll say this, like, they didn't tell me to go say something to her at all.
Right.
But there was so much conversation going on inside of our family, inside of our home. How do we be supportive of Jared? How do we deal with all this stuff? Especially while they're staying together and they're both coming back to my parents for Christmas and stuff. Even in the lead up to this, I'm someone who has had migraines my whole life. And what I would find is that every time my brother and sister-in-law would come to town, I would be the mayor of Migraine City. And what I eventually learned was I was stressing myself out so hard trying to either keep the peace or rain down hellfire that I would make myself sick. My sister-in-law and I will have a conversation somewhere in that time period, and I will lose my ever-loving mind. And I'm righteous, right? You did X, Y, and Z. This is arbitrarily wrong. Like, this is morally repugnant. This is whatever, right? And what I will do with my hurt, with my righteousness, with my... I know the rules on what's supposed to happen inside of a marriage, is I will... alienate my sister-in-law. And I will do it to such a degree that she and I won't speak for several years. I will do it to such a degree that as my brother's illness increases, that me as my brother's living blood relative should be the link for my nieces to be back in this family. Not back in this family like they were removed, but when you have a parent that is in active addiction, they cannot always be there for you.
Right.
And my brother was very functional, and he was a dad who loved his daughters, and he made every effort to be there for them and do the things that a father would do for them. But what I don't know sitting over here in Santa Maria is my nieces are suffering, right? I don't know, because I don't have a line of communication into their mom, because she's the devil.
Right.
And she's not, obviously.
Right. That's in your own mind.
This is in my own mind because of the hurt she, in
Sure.
my mind, has perpetrated on my brother, which again, so much more to the story than that. It would be, but because I biblically have ground to stand on that this lady is the worst, I'm going to continue to believe that. And what I will do is I will, in my anger and in my righteousness, I will cut off the link that my nieces have to my parents. I will cut off being the liaison where my nieces can come tell me there's things happening in our house that are unsafe. My sister-in-law will not be able to call me and ask for help with my nieces or say she doesn't know what to do, because I am so hardcore right and righteous and you are wrong and bad. That I will, and my nieces still, they came and visited at Christmas and Thanksgiving. You know, my brother was a 50% custodial parent for most of their life. However, I left those kids out in the cold because of my righteousness, because my anger was so big, because my need to call you a sinner was so huge that what I would do is I would cut off my own nieces from this other extended part of their family that should have been liaising with them, that should have been protecting them, that should have been available for them to speak to and say, we're scared about our dad, we're scared about the things that are going on, we don't understand X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And instead I had made myself persona non grata.
Yeah.
And I did that to me.
Right.
And I did it thinking I was in the right. And I would not learn for probably a solid decade after that, that being right, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, because, and this is the part where my best friend had told me, like, you need to speak clearly, because there is a right and wrong.
Sure.
God does call us to be righteous. He does call us to walk a certain way.
Right.
However, I believe those things are less rules than they are fruit. I believe that when you look at someone's life, what they do or don't do, what they do or don't believe will show up in the way they live their life. And unfortunately, the way I was showing up in my life was as a person holding an imaginary line and a club over my head. And I really didn't know I was doing that, genuinely. I've been someone since I was a child who I've pursued the things of God. I've studied, I've submitted myself to authority. I've been under so many, I've taken every class in teaching. I've read, meditated, written an angry letter, thrown it out. You know, I've done all the things, right?
Yeah.
And here I find myself someone who really believes I love Jesus, someone who really believes my life is submitted to God, and I am the abuser. I'm the Pharisee. And I will find that to be true over and over and over in my life. And it's wild because every biblical story I've ever heard, I never put myself in the seat of the Pharisee. I'm the one taking the guy off of the side of the road. There's nobody that I wouldn't cross the road to help. There's not.
Right.
There's nobody. That is not.
Right. So, okay, so just so I can understand where you're coming from, and I think I agree with you on this completely. So, we could apply this to any situation, obviously, but the situation you're talking about, it's not that you learn that somehow infidelity is okay.
Correct.
And it wasn't a sin, but you kind of had somewhat of a self-righteous attitude about it, to where you're more
and
like...
I didn't even know I was being self-righteous.
Correct.
I thought I
Right.
was just being righteous.
Yes.
But it turns out the further into the Bible I get, the more mature of a Christian I become. And again, this is not for... The conversation we're having right now is not for a baby Christian.
Right.
It's not for someone who's just learning the bread, who's just learning the tenets of the faith, who's just learning the history of the timeline, or the basics of the fundamentals of who Jesus is and what he requires of you.
Right.
But what I have learned over my life is that the things that God requires of us, to be righteous, to live uprightly, to follow his word, follow his example, those sorts of things, it's like these are all the rules.
Right.
This is what I want you to do. And then I'm going to supersede that with something that is so out of left field that it's going to make you reconsider all that stuff.
Right.
I want you to be righteous. I want you to be holy. I want you to show up as a vision of me everywhere you go. And therefore the rules are important. Therefore holiness matters. Therefore you want to run from sin.
Right.
Both because it clouds your relationship between you and your maker, but it clouds your relationship between you and the Spirit of God that lives inside of you.
Right.
It will mess with, sin is pervasive. It takes root, and it will undo your family. It will, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then the best part is that God says, hey, don't do any of this. These things are bad. And then when he has the opportunity to throw a rock at a lady who's doing all the bad things, he's like, we're not doing that, guys. Like, I know I told you that righteousness is important and that holiness matters, but what matters even more than that, there's something that matters even more than that.
Right.
I will learn this lesson the hard way multiple times in my life. I'll learn it through my own brother's death. I'll learn it through my sister's death. It is like, I think I'm gonna have to get into, when my sister passed away, it was unexpected. And my sister Melissa,
How long ago was this? This was
just under a decade, I believe.
Okay.
2016,
Yeah.
I think, New Year's Eve 2016.
okay.
My sister drops dead or dies in her sleep of an enlarged heart. It was very unexpected. But I knew something was wrong with my sister. Like, I had clocked the weird behavior. I had clocked the excessive drinking. And what I didn't know is that she was using alcohol to stave off a physiological sensation of her heart racing, right? If I can...
Oh, so she was having symptoms. She just maybe wasn't telling anybody.
She just didn't know what they were. She thought they were
okay.
anxiety.
Oh.
Yes. And so my sister, again, 15 months younger than me. We look like freaking twins. My best friend my entire life, like literally the other half of my soul. Before she dies, she and my other sister and I we've been brawling for a while in a way that sisters do, but Melissa was out of hand. She was extra angry. She was, and what we don't know is she's actively dying, and she is finding whatever way she can to try to make herself feel better, right? And I will put down some hard lines with her. I will set up some good boundaries with her. We will begin to repair a relationship, and then she dies. At that point, I could barely show up for my own life. I am taking my kids to school and then laying in my bed all day sleeping. Get up right before I gotta get the kids, take a shower, get the kids home from school, go to work, rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
And
you want some tissue?
It will. No, I'll use Tupac in a minute. This guy will dry my tears.
Okay.
Thank you, then. What I will learn in the aftermath of my sister's death is when I am able to pick my head up and look around, is that I failed my sister, which I knew right out the gate. The way my sister was representing herself to me in those days where I failed my sister, it is highly reasonable for me to have taken space from her. I could easily label the behaviors, if I wanted to get all the way into it, as sin, if I wanted to. And what I know is that I don't care about any of that. That if I had 5 minutes back with her, you could shotgun 100 beers and I don't care. You can use every swear word and I don't care. I just want to be with you because I love you.
Of course.
I pick my head up after my sister dies, and I know what I've already known, which is that my brother has a drinking problem. And I will continue to do what I always do, which is know the right thing and exercise my opinion onto everyone around me. Mm-hmm. And I will brawl with my brother. I will bully my brother. I will do the same thing I did with my sister with him. I will force him to live. Mm-hmm. Like, I will come sit on your porch. I will clean out your whole house of alcohol. Yeah. I will move in with you if I need to. Mm-hmm. I will take you to a hospital. I will encourage you to go to rehab. I will yell at you. I will argue with you. I don't care if you're mad at me. I'm saving your life here, buddy.
Yeah.
And
was part of that because of what had already happened to your sister? You felt like you didn't.
So I think that if I'm being super clear about the timeline, my brother's struggles with alcohol had started way prior to my sister's death. Okay. I would say probably maybe just short of 2 decades ago is when my brother started drinking. And again, I would see a warning sign, I would call it out. I am begging anyone that will listen to me that's in authority over my brother and I to help. Somebody come save him. Somebody yank his chain. Somebody make this guy get sober. Like, somebody... I know how beautiful of a human being this is. Mm-hmm. I was raised in the same house as this person. Right. I know his heart. I know his giftings. I know who he is, and who he is representing himself to be right now is not the person I know him to be. Right. I'm mad about that. You're messing up your life over here, and I can fix it. I can speak enough to you to make you understand what a nightmare you are, and then we'll fix it. And what I would realize as my life with my brother would go on is that every movement I had made with my brother previously, in literally fighting with him verbally, in calling and check-in, in any way, my motive in all of those things was always fear. I'm afraid my brother's going to die. Yeah. I'm afraid he's going to wreck his car. I'm afraid he's going to hurt my nieces. I'm afraid whatever.
So that was going on for years.
Yes. Wow. And again, because my brother was divorced, and I want to say this, his ex-wife is an angel. She would call me and say, or my nieces would call and say, hey, Dad's in the hospital, or we got to take Dad to the hospital. Or my sister-in-law would say, hey, I'm here with Jared. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, cool, I'm on my way. I just got off work. I'll be there in 4 hours. And, I brawl with this guy for his life for probably a decade. And all I do is turn myself into the a-hole. Mm-hmm. All I do is become persona non grata in my family. I am mean. I am a word that rhymes with witch. I am overdoing it. I'm doing too much. Mm-hmm. And the further into the sickness with my brother that I got, the more hospital visits there were. Mm-hmm. And, these are days at a time. And initially my brother's angry that I'm here. I don't need you here. You don't need to be reporting back to Mom and Dad. I know you always want to see all the bad stuff I'm doing so you can tell me about what I'm, right. All of the same stuff, right? Because the truth is I was moving in condemnation. Sure. I was not moving this guy I was not assisting this person into freedom. I was moving out of fear. Mm-hmm. I was trying to manage his behavior. I was trying to manage the outcome of it. I would sit and have conversations with him. Jared, do you know that every day I wake up and my number one job is to stay alive? Mm-hmm. Like, did you know that your parents already have a child who's deceased? Like, what do you think happens when there's 2 of you gone? Right. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, I know how serious it is, and I have it under control and all this stuff. And eventually what I knew for sure is that my brother was dying. Mm-hmm. So probably for the last 2 years before my brother died, I could see the writing on the wall. And again, I'm at the hospital. I'm speaking to the doctors. I'm doing my own research. I'm understanding what's going on in his body. Mm-hmm. And I would... maybe it was like 5 years ago, I realized that all I was doing was separating myself from my brother. All I was doing was making him feel like he needed to hide more. Mm-hmm. And stopped. I stopped pushing. I stopped asking questions. And what I started to do was, and it was the only thing I could do, like, God, will you help me figure out how to love my brother? Because I've already failed my sister. And I believed my brother was not going to change his life. As I am praying for God to help me with this, I'm asking him for ears to hear and eyes to see and a heart that understands. I start, like, no lie, the only thing I can think of so that I will not be falling into my old metrics by the way I handle my family is, before I go anywhere where my brother is, anywhere, I literally, not channel, like, I don't light a candle and, like, but I literally was channeling my inner Care Bear. Like, all I could think was, like, just be a Care Bear.
Right.
Just put that freaking heart on your stomach, and anything you say to your brother comes out of love. Anything you don't say to your brother comes out of love. Every time you hold your tongue, give him a hug when you don't want to, or let go of some. And my brother could be difficult, and my brother and I love each other very much, loved each other very much, but we brawled heavily. My brother's arrogance would make me crazy. His ability to hang on to something in a fight is just insane. And, you know, as siblings do. And what I found as I changed my approach with my brother was that he started to believe that I was not his enemy. And whereas before, if I'm in his hospital room, it was him trying to hurry up and get me out of there.
Right.
Or if he's in the hospital and he's sending me to his house to go get him his toothbrush and a book, it is, you better FaceTime me when you get to the house. Like, I don't want you walking through my whole house and going through all my stuff. Well, buddy, I've tossed your house twice since I've been there.
Right.
You were asleep. Like, already all the liquor's gone. I don't know what you think you're hiding from me. Not nothing.
Yeah.
Which, again, terrible attitude, Amanda. But moving on. As I will literally it took me 20 years to figure out how to really love my brother. Not that I wasn't my brother's friend. Not that I didn't love him as a sister.
Yeah.
But what I would find is that my brother was someone who lived with a deep, heavy cloak of shame. My brother is someone who is extremely lonely and hiding himself from everyone, so that loneliness could never be satisfied. It is the weirdest. It's like being in a room full of people and you're still alone.
Yeah.
That was my brother.
Yeah.
And as I changed my approach, as I asked God to work on my heart and allow me to learn how to love this guy, like, in a real life-altering way, that is exactly what God would do. And I'm in a hospital with my brother probably 18 months ago, and I'm sitting next to his bed, per usual, me and him. Not that there were never other people there, but it's me and him. And he is on day like 2 or 3. He usually sleeps the whole day. There's heavy medications involved, so his body will rest. And I'm sitting next to his bed, and he opens his eyes and he said, you know, every time they give me these meds, I have nightmares. I said, I'm sorry. And he said, but every time I open my eyes and I see you sitting there, I know that I'm safe. I know you're watching out for me.
And that's something he might not have said 5 years prior to that.
Would not have said. Would have cursed me out of the room, my friend.
Yeah.
So when he says that, I said, Jared, I hope you know how true that is. I hope you know how safe you are with me. And I, in that moment, got to have one of the most honest conversations Jared and I ever had. In which I said, you know, I don't believe you're going to stop drinking. I don't believe you have any intention of it. And the truth is, I have never believed that. Not in any of the rounds of other things we've tried in the last 20 years. Not in the worst offense you've been caught doing. I don't believe you're interested in being sober. And I wish, really what I wish, Jared, is that I wish that you would stop holding yourself away from me. I wish that you would not miss he missed a Super Bowl Sunday. which again, highly unusual.
Which is a big deal in your household.
Big deal in our household. And, the lies were always the same when he was either intoxicated or trying to sober himself up so he could come be around the family. And it was traditionally about the dog. And I said, Jared, I don't believe you're interested in stopping drinking. And I wish that you wouldn't poison your body, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I do not care. What I care about is that I am already light one sibling. I feel like I have about 5 minutes left with you, and I want every one of them. So if you're drunk Super Bowl Sunday, I would ask you to come bring your drunkenness to the living room.
Yeah.
Because you holding yourself away from us is not protecting you, and it's not protecting me. Like, just come be with me. Can't you see how much I love you? Can't you see how safe all your filth is in front of me? Can't you see I want you here?
Yeah.
My brother said that he believed me, and then he understood what I said. From that conversation, the irritation in our relationship, the I feel like I'm gonna get caught, the you're my parent thing went away. And that's him to me being the parent that's
Right.
the oversight, even though I'm not his parent. I am very bossy.
He felt like you were in a sense, though, because of your kind of judging attitude.
Yes, and that's the thing. Exactly right. It was a judging attitude. I didn't even know it was a judging attitude. I think I'm saving him.
Right.
I think that I'm living my life by the laws of God.
Right.
What I would... As my relationship with my brother continued to grow, he started to be real honest with me. And for me, that was treasure and gold. I had to get honest with myself. Okay, I don't even want to go to a family function. It's so much to even deal with. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the family function. I'm going to have a good attitude, and I'm going to put my freaking Care Bear heart on, and anything that does not come out of love is not coming out of me. I'm going to invite my brother over for dinner on my night off from work. I don't want to make dinner. I don't want to clean my house and entertain you people.
Right.
But I want to be with my brother. And I know that me reaching out was more important than if my house was clean or dinner was going to be delicious. 10 days before my brother dies will be my sister Melissa's birthday.
Wow.
Melissa's birthday, my sister Huli, Jared and I always get together, sometimes with partners and spouses, sometimes just us. We will get together. This year we decided to go to the casino, get massages. Huli and I had gift cards from my mom, thank God. And Jared's responsible for himself financially, congratulations. And we make this whole plan. We're all texting, whatever. And everybody's good to go. We make the appointments. Day of comes. We agree to get there early. We're going to get there around, noon or 1 so that we can enjoy the services of the pool and have a snack and, whatever before our massages. We'll have our massages, we'll have dinner, and we'll hang out.
Nice.
Great. Gonna be a good day. Huli and I get there on time. No Jared. I text him, hey, where you at? He's like, hey, I'm at home. I was like, you coming? He's like, yeah, I thought the massages weren't till 3. I said, yeah. And again, this is part of being in a relationship with someone that has addiction issues. Like, his memory wasn't... You could have the same conversation with this guy 10 times in a row and he didn't know. Like, that's just the way it was. So I'm, retelling him, this is what time we're talking about, blah, 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 blah. Just get here. See you when you get here. Cool. I just got to do all these 55 things, and then I got to do this, and then I got to settle that contract, and then I got to feed the dog, but then after that, I'm coming. All right, Jared. My sister and I hang out at the pool. We have a snack. We're chilling. And she's like, where's your brother? I was like, where's your brother? And I said, he's not coming. I said, he's not coming. He's going to bail.
Okay.
She goes, no, he's coming. I said, no, he's not going to come. Because historically, when my brother was drunk, he would hide. He's not coming. So it's time to get changed. We're in our little robes for our massages, and we're in this living room area waiting in the spa. And my sister's like, shoot, I have to go pee. She jumps up, runs to go pee. And I am just sitting there, and I hear my brother's voice coming down the hallway. And I look up, I see that it's him, and I'm immediately dealing with myself. And it's so dumb. But my first thought was like, I'm going to have to get up and hug my brother right now. And I'm wearing a robe with nothing underneath it because I'm about to go get a massage. Things I've never been uncomfortable about before in my life. Like, we shared a house growing up. Like, and not like, but like, I've been, anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But in my head, and as I'm sitting there chastising myself for feeling weird about my own nakedness, even though I'm clothed, I am like, I'm going to get up and hug your brother. Like, what are you doing sitting here arguing with yourself? Even, like, just get up and hug your brother. Stop being such a weirdo. I jump up to hug my brother. I get from me to you. For the listener, we're like 2 feet away from each other. I get from me to you, and that's when I realized my brother is extremely intoxicated. He is absolutely wasted. And I looked at him, and before I could even stop myself, I went, "Oh, you're hammered." And he started laughing, and he goes, "Yes, I am," which again, so much of our time around this issue was spent in denial. So much of our time around this issue is like, I want you to tell me the truth so you can get free of your issues, and you feel like I'm trying to trap you. And now we've gotten to a place where this guy feels loved, seen, and accepted by me, and he shows up exactly as he is. So that was a breakthrough in a sense, It is. I will go home sobbing and call my best friend and tell her that today is the best day of my life, because I had never, before that time, I had never seen my brother take his shame out in public. I never saw him show up in the truth, ever, in public. Like, he didn't even want to do it in the house behind closed doors. He was going to sit across from me and tell me he was not intoxicated. And today this guy shows up extremely hammered. And when I gave him a hug and said, "I'm so glad you're here," he looks at me and he has tears rolling off his face. And he said, "I'm here because you told me you wanted me here. And I believed you. You told me you wanted me here drunk or sober, saint or sinner, good or bad. And I believed you." My brother would die 9 days after that. 10 days after that. The next morning, and we would spend I was at his house that night till like 2 a.m. After all this, we just could not stop talking. But the next morning, my brother would text me. Or actually, I texted him, said, "Hey, big guy, how you feeling? You know, blah, blah, blah. I love you. Thanks for coming yesterday. I'm so glad you came." And he said, "I'm so glad I came." And he said, "You know, Amanda, I woke up feeling so full of shame." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because here we are out screwing around at the casino and, you know, having a meal together. We being me, Jared, Julissa." He said, "And our parents are sitting at home grieving by themselves." And he said, "I'm so ashamed of myself for that." And my response to that was, "Jared, we invite mom and dad every year to come along with us if they'd like. They prefer to do their own thing privately. There's no shame in that for them. There's no shame in that for us. We're going to continue to hold space for them over here. And if they choose to join us, great. And if not, that's their business." I said, "Shame is a mistress that only gets to come with you if you bring her. You're permitting that. You're creating that shame for yourself, and it's not yours to take." And my brother's response to that was, "The way you dispel shame is exactly what you did yesterday." And he said, "Because what you did was you welcomed me and embraced me. You didn't co-sign my sin. You didn't try to make everything okay." I think that for me, while we could get into the origins of abortion, and we could talk about when the church got involved or when the AMA got involved, or we could talk about a lot of different things, both in the history and political ideology of abortion. And I will say this, ultimately, I'm for the children, I'm for the babies. And I also am unwilling to pick up a rock when I could sit with that person instead. the issue of abortion, the issue of LGBTQIA, when I look at them, from the highest ring, and again, we're not talking about baby Christians that know good and bad only. Mm-hmm. I don't find myself able to pick up a rock for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is I love a lot of people who've had abortions. But there's also, like, if I'm being honest, while I, in my physical body, have not had an abortion, biblically speaking, if I'm looking at the way the rules of God, how deep the holiness and the righteousness of our Creator go, if I've thought about having an abortion, I've had an abortion. If I've considered having an abortion, I've had an abortion. I don't find myself to be less culpable than anyone else.
Right.
And I find myself unwilling to do anything but sit in the mud with you. Like, God's going to give you the freedom you're looking for. He is good to come after you, to rescue you, to restore you to himself. He will deal with your sin. He'll deal with your heart. He'll deal with your shame. And he'll take it on in a way that's so much better. It literally took me 20 years. It took me 20 years to get out of the way of the Spirit of God. It took me 20 years to learn how to love someone that was hurting me. And himself. And his children. I find the mercies of God to be so deep and pervasive. And again, I'm not suggesting there's no right or wrong or no standard for good or bad.
Yeah.
But I will say that from that metric, or like from that point of view, the babies that are in someone's uterus that go directly back to their Creator, I am far less offended by than the students in my husband's school who are hungry and abused. It is very easy, in theory, to hold a position or create a position. We could sit here and do it. We could sit here and talk about, like, slavery biblically, right? We could talk about what the Bible has to say about that. And it could get a little bit uncomfortable, right? Because is God saying that slavery is good? No, is the answer. No. No. But what Jesus does, or what God does, what the Bible does, is repeatedly addresses slavery while moving the goalpost towards decency. I'm unwilling. I try really hard not to nitpick the Bible. I try really hard to be aware that I could make the Bible say almost anything I wanted to say. I could put myself in a position and then throw bombs straight from Scripture if I wanted to. And that is our tendency, because we want to live inside the rules as Christians. We want to pursue the things of God. We want to be more like Him. And in our wanting to be more like Him, we want to be good somehow, or perfect or better.
Yeah.
And I don't, when everything at the end of the day washes away, I will also say this. My brother, for his, for the way he lived his life in a way that arbitrarily most Christians would say is bad. My brother was a beautiful creation of our Creator. My brother really loved people. My brother really impacted people's lives. Did I tell you about his next door neighbor last time?
I don't know if you did, or if they mentioned it at the service.
I mentioned it at the service. I'd like to get a little
he
deeper with
did.
it.
Yeah, go for it.
After my brother passes, I'm at his house cleaning stuff out. His neighbor, this lady, will approach me, and she'll introduce herself, and she's upset, and she says, hey, listen, I wish I would have known your brother was an alcoholic. And I said, well, if he wanted you to know, he would have told you.
Right.
And she said, she goes, when he moved into the neighborhood, I brought him over some brownies or something.
Yeah.
And she said that the next day, 2 days later, he comes to her house and brings her a bottle of wine and says, thanks so much for being the first person to welcome me to the neighborhood. Enjoyed chatting with you, whatever. This lady's our mom's age. Cool, great. She says, oh, I don't drink wine, but thank you so much. I said, ma'am, if my brother had wanted to talk to you about alcoholism, I guarantee you that was his in. Like, my brother is not stupid. The guy was very quick.
Yeah.
She said that then what happened was she refuses the wine. He brings her back a bunch of tea the following day, makes her tea, sits with her in her kitchen. They will strike up a friendship. Jared will cook for her. He will get her mail if she's out of town, blah, blah, blah. And what she'll tell me is, I wish I would have known your brother was an alcoholic because I've been sober for 6 years. I'm an alcoholic.
Wow.
She said our daughters are the same age. And she said, I know that the family, the children, that's who's the most affected by this sort of thing. The people on the periphery cannot imagine what those children have seen. And I said, that's facts.
Yeah.
And she said that while she was in the middle of her alcoholism, that her children were violently and repeatedly abused by their grandfather. And she said, I was drunk and didn't know.
My gosh.
She said, my daughters hate men. They are not comfortable with men. They do not, I can't say those words on this podcast, but they don't, what with them. They do not F with them.
Right.
They're not going to be comfortable with them. And she said, your brother's house is the only house of a man that my daughters will go into.
Oh, wow.
They'll go throw the ball in the backyard with the dog. They'll come sit and have tea with their mom and my brother or watch a movie. And she said, I know that there's something about an addict, that there's like a conflict, right? Like, we're trying to sort out what was good, what was bad, what we can call holy or not holy. But ultimately, even while my brother was deathly ill, the God of the universe would see fit to move through him.
Right.
Because the relationship he forged with those girls, and those girls being safe in his home, is the real truth. I believe that when God moves, it is often in spite of us, not because of us.
Bingo.
I am so tired of clinging to my rightness.
Right.
As if that could make the hand of God move. As if my rightness is going to cause freedom.
Right.
As if it's going to feed somebody. As if it's going to bring comfort to someone.
Right.
It is never going to do that.
Right.
What brings comfort to someone is me sitting down with them and saying, I love you completely. I think if I could have really thought about the way I love my kids, maybe I could have gotten to this sooner.
There's unconditional, right?
It is, but it's not just unconditional. It's that when I look at them, all I see is joy. Like, when I look at my kids, I don't look, the first thing that comes to my, it isn't how love works. There is no love the sinner and hate the sin. That doesn't exist, bro.
No.
It's love the sinner, forgive the sin. It's love the sinner, restore the person. It's love the person, and that love heals. It is, I think that's why I was so irritated that's why I got so hot last episode in trying to explain how while Jesus gives us these tenets to live by, these ways that will make our life easier in some ways, right? Like, if you don't have sex before marriage, you probably won't get pregnant outside of wedlock, therefore being poor for the next 15 years of your life.
Right.
And a various slate of things that could go sideways. My whole life I have tried to, I genuinely love Jesus. I genuinely have tried to seek after him and follow him. And even while I thought I was doing the right thing, while I thought that I was modeling my life after the character of Christ, what I was missing was that there is a higher requirement than holiness, righteousness, following a rule, just saying no. There's a higher requirement, and it is that God would say, hey, these are the rules. I don't want you to, for example, I don't want you to work on a Sunday. I want you to take a rest, right? Mm-hmm. And then Jesus, the God in the flesh, would come to the earth and start healing on the day of rest.
Right.
It's like, are you just messing with us at this point? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, why when Jesus talks to the disciples does he say like, hey, listen, there's a bunch of mysteries here.
Right.
I'm telling you, but I'm not telling them.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, also, you can't write all this down. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine being Jesus' disciple and Jesus is literally out there talking and the Pharisees are like, well, your disciples don't even wash their hands. And Jesus is like, so?
Right.
What does that have to do with anything? You guys are making up human laws.
Right.
You can't be defiled by something you put inside your body.
Right.
And the religious leaders are like, well, really, he doesn't answer their question, and they go away because they won't answer his question also, and they agree to a mutual parting in that moment, I believe. Mm-hmm. But when they go back to the place they're staying, the disciples are like, what was that? What does that even mean?
Right.
Jesus literally says, are you dull?
Yeah.
Like you have eyes and you can't see.
Yeah.
You have ears and you can't hear.
Yes.
You are not understanding what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is nobody cares about pork. It cannot defile you from the inside.
Right.
What comes out of you is what defiles you. And that's what I found. What I found is that what was coming out of me was abusive. What was coming out of me was what I had been taught was what a good Christian looked like, and it was not. And it breaks my heart in a particular sort of way. Because there's so much like waste in there almost. Mm-hmm.
Of life, in a sense. Like you went so far without learning that lesson that you feel like all the times you could have been acting that way and treating people in that way, you didn't.
Yes.
And now you can't.
And the truth is,
back.
again, I was raised by people, like, one of the number one things you would hear in my parents' home growing up was walk in love. Mm-hmm. Esteem others more highly than yourself. Mm-hmm. And I historically am good at doing those things. I'm a loving person. I have a lot of friends. I take care of my people. I'm really at the hospital with you when your grandma's sick. I'm really making you dinner. I'm picking up your kids from school. You're my neighbor. No problem.
Yeah.
But why then was it something that was so difficult for me to love my own brother through? And again, not in like a I love you kind of way, but in an I am purposely putting myself in a position that I am going to get hurt in, that you're already hurting in, and I'm just, the only thing that matters right now is for you to know how loved you are. The only thing that matters right now is for you to know how safe you are. And I believe once my brother believed that, it genuinely changed his life. I never saw my brother's ego come back. I never heard his mouth run the same way.
Yeah.
After the night where he came and just showed up as himself, perfectly comfortable and accepted to do so, I never saw him pick that back up. Was the damage already done?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
His body was already in free fall, right? Mm-hmm. To watch my brother find that freedom right before the end of his life, some of the most beautiful things the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. After the massage for Melissa's birthday, I called my best friend sobbing. Because again, like, I've not been walking through this alone, right? I live my life by a council of women. I live my life in community. I try to be someone who put me in check.
Right.
I don't want to misuse the name of God. I don't want to call myself a Christian and cause harm to the people of God. Mm-hmm. And what I have found is for a long time, like, the stronger I got in my faith, it's not that I didn't intellectually understand that Jesus historically went after the marginalized. Mm. That the people, even in his inner circle, right? You got a murderer, you got a thief, but I don't know what the various illnesses of all the other disciples were, but we for sure got a murderer and a thief in there.
Right.
It's a wild thing to sit and realize that every single thing that you've worked so hard on your whole life doesn't matter. It's not that it doesn't matter how much self-control I have or how much I love Jesus. But what really matters is, am I moved by compassion in the moment when I should be? Are the people who are hurting and broken near me, do they feel totally loved and embraced? Do they feel seen? Do they feel known? I was talking to a friend who's a pastor, and we were talking about Jesus' first miracle. And I was telling him that, I said, it's wild to me that Jesus' first miracle is done completely out of love. He's like, what does that mean? I said, well, I don't know. He says, to his mom, well, why are you looking at me? It's not my time yet.
Yeah.
It's not time for me to start doing miracles, lady. Mary doesn't even respond to him. She just talks to the servants, and she's like, yo, bring those earthen vessels over here, the ones... By the way, is it not disgusting to anyone else that these are ceremonial cleaning jars? They're not empty water cups waiting for someone to make water into wine.
They're not Arrowhead. They're
they're literally people that walk across dirt all day have been ceremonially dunking their hands in between eating food with their same hands.
Yeah.
Blech.
Well, he probably cleansed it and turned it into wine at the same time.
Please, God. The part they don't tell you is everyone got salmonella.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It was a vomit fest after that. Yeah.
Well, they did that too, right? Anyhow, talking to my friend, I'm like, man, it's crazy that Jesus would... It's not that he didn't know, right? He knew his ministry would start that day. He knew he was going to start doing miracles that day. He knew he was ramping up to go. And he knew his mom was going to say something to him, and he was going to be put in this position. Yeah. And as I'm talking about it, I'm talking about the love for his mother is, to me, what makes Jesus move in this moment. And my friend says, He goes, no, Amanda, think about this. And he goes, in those days, you're the person throwing the wedding feast. You are... it's not a sin if you run out of food and drinks, but it's certainly looked down on. Yeah. Somebody's going to be running their mouth about you. Oh, yeah. You're going to be embarrassed. You're going to be uncomfortable. You might even be ashamed. Oh. And shame, again, this is back to where shame is so powerful. For me personally, the word shame here, and again, just because of what I've watched all of my people be bound to, what I've watched kill and choke out more people than I care to name here. Yeah. He's like, my friend is telling me that when Jesus performs this miracle, that it's almost as a covering, that it is to protect this person's dignity, shame, reputation, and again, not in a sinful way, just in a, this is going to be an embarrassment. This is going to be uncomfortable. It would be like if you're at Mike's house and you guys are, I don't know, having a Super Bowl party. Yeah. And you realize you're out of nachos. Oh, tragedy. I'm on my way to the store. What do you mean tragedy? No one's even going to know. I got you, buddy. Okay. I'm on my way to the store right now. By the time I get back here, we're going to have the most awesome nachos of all time. Yeah. Ideally, everybody just worked on the taquitos till I got back with the nachos and no one even noticed. I'm going to slide these right in. See, I didn't know there was taquitos. That changes the whole game now. Taquitos dipped in nacho cheese, though. Whew. Come on. Nice. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Nacho cheese is just maybe one of the best foods I ever did. It's heavenly. It is. It really is. I think all the rivers in heaven are going to flow with nacho cheese. With plastic nacho cheese. Yeah, plastic nacho cheese. Those and my That won't be bad for you because nothing can be bad for you in heaven. No, exactly right. Oh my God. There should be a lot of things up there that won't be bad for us. That cotton candy. Yeah. Yeah. My point in saying all that is, again, I think there are so many examples in scriptures, and it feels almost like every time I go to scripture, I see Jesus saying, this is how far I want you to take it in my name. This is the way I want you to represent me. This is the heart of the matter. And then he says, hang on one second, though, I'm going to supersede that. Hang on one second, I'm going to give you more grace. Hang on one second, I'm going to go get the one sheep and leave the 99 sitting here. Right. It is the most beautiful, exciting part of the gospel. And to me, I didn't know I was missing it. because I had the rules right. My heart is bowed to the Creator. My knee is bowed to the Creator. But until I had enough life experience, I didn't know what that meant in application and practicality. And that is what I mean when I say we're missing the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
It's not that there's no lines to hold. It's not that any person that's born of God and knows God should be loving, right? Then there's a list of other character qualities, right, that should come out of them. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, self-control.
Yes.
I'm not suggesting that we move away from the fruits of the Spirit. I'm not suggesting we don't try to live our lives in a way that is pleasing to our Creator and honors ourself, Him, the relationship He's put us in, the communities we sit in.
Yeah.
But what I am suggesting is that holding a moral line on abortion or making that what I'm passionate about is something I can't do.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I'm more passionate about the people that are broken.
Yeah, and I like I said a minute ago, I think I'm in agreement with you, but I want to kind of say some things and hash it out. So I'm going to jump back into that in a minute.
Please.
But so I didn't even know. So with back to with Jared. Yeah. So his death was alcohol related. See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So I
had no idea.
My brother's his cause of death was multi-system organ failure.
Okay.
Caused by the effects of long-term alcohol.
Just years of alcohol use.
Yeah. Okay. And
so it was like his liver shut down, which caused his other
liver,
organs.
Kidneys, pancreas.
My gosh.
All three gone.
And is that what had been happening to him before the times he was in the hospital? So this time was just too far.
This time was just too far. So he had been having organ issues previously, off and on for years. And the truth is, our bodies are designed in a very intelligent way, and they are.
It's almost like there's a God that created us.
It's almost like a creator sat there and was like, "Hey, I got you guys, no problem."
Yeah.
He had he'd been in and out of the hospital, and the truth is, more of that would come. Either he'd have to be like wildly in the early days. I would say it would be like heavy levels of intoxication would lead to hospitalization.
Yeah.
But in the later days, it would be the attempted sobering up. It would be
withdrawals.
Correct,
okay.
and which is how you get into seizures, organ failure, etc. Right. So he had a seizure inside the previous year. He had a seizure, and again from being involved with the medical staff, my understanding is that once you hit the threshold in withdrawals where you begin having seizures, your mortality or your morbidity likelihood is you're getting closer to death.
Sure.
And you have to be way more careful. And instead of it taking this much alcohol that you then detox from to cause a big event, now it only takes a small amount of alcohol to cause a big event, right?
Yeah.
And Jared he'd been heavily drinking around my sister's birthday. In fact, when he got to the casino, after I had told him hello, he told me the reason he came, all this stuff. He's sitting there sobbing, drunkenly, and my sister Huli comes back out of the bathroom and she just looks at us, and then she just gives my brother a hug, and then Jared is sitting there, and all he's talking about is how much he misses Melissa. All he's talking about is it hurts so bad. Like, how come it hurts so bad this year? Like, it hurts more than any other year. And I'm looking at him because for me, this had been the first year that I had looked forward to spending time with my siblings on Melissa's birthday. It was the first year that I did not feel a deep, heavy sense of sadness. It was the first year I personally felt like I was healing.
Right.
And so when Huli comes out of the bathroom and Jared is sitting there sobbing, and he's like, I just miss her so much. I can't stop thinking about it. I hurt so bad. And when he left the room with his massage therapist, I asked my sister, I said, hey, I know my brother harms himself in what he does to his body, but that almost sounded like a self-harm. Like, did that sound crazy to you? And she said, Amanda, I have never looked at Jared and thought, like, outside of the harm he does to himself, that he would self-harm. And she goes, but that's exactly where my mind went. And I was like, well, he's not, I'm going to hang out with this guy till Jesus comes back because he won't be doing that on my watch. Yeah. Which, of course, I go right back into control mode. I go right back into moving out of fear instead of out of love, right? Immediately.
Sure.
However, what I believe was happening is I believe my brother's, because within 9 days he'll be deceased, within 8 he'll be in the hospital in triple organ failure. I believe that the veil was already thinning between this world and the next where my brother is concerned, and I believe he was feeling my sister, and I believe that as the veil thinned, there was something about being in this body and separated from her and from where he was going that was getting almost increasingly painful for him.
Yeah.
It was after my brother's death. I'm driving home from the hospital. He passed in the hospital. Driving home from the hospital, and I'm yelling at the sky. Words I can't repeat on your podcast. And I just said, you guys are the worst. Thanks for leaving me here.
Yeah.
Big middle fingers for making me do Thanksgiving without you, and Christmas and every other holiday. But then really, like, when I had vented my big feelings in that moment, immediately, the next words out of my mouth are, I'm just kidding, you guys. I'm so glad you guys are together. I'm so glad you guys are whole and healed.
Yeah.
And I felt like, again, because I watched my brother be so wrapped up in shame, lies, manipulation, self-loathing, loneliness, playing a certain role. For me, I have a sense of, I don't know if the word is victory. I will say that I have can't say that word, an unmesswithable level of peace around my brother's death. I saw how bound up my brother was. I saw how broken he was. And again, not everyone gets to see how the sausage is made, right?
Right.
And I knew that he was not going to fight for his life. I again, watched it over and over as a pattern. And even if, I'd like to think I extended his life by a little bit, which is arrogant of me to even say out loud, I understand. But I'd like to think that brawling with him in the same way, brawling with any of my other siblings or friends might, but actually, whether it did or it didn't, what it served to do was to put me in a place where my brother felt like I was his enemy, or he felt like I was against him. Right. And really, I'm fighting with you for your life. Well, guess what? It's not my business to do that. I don't get to exert my will over you as much as I would like to, as much as I would love to inhabit your body. Yeah. Get you back on track. Tell you who you really are. Remind you of the promises of God in your life. Remind you about your healing and your ability to get sober and blah, blah, blah.
But don't you think that, though, I agree with you, that ultimately that's not up to you, right? It's the person's own life. They make choices and they live how they're going to live. But I also think that it could be important for you to express those things to somebody you love. Just, you know what I'm saying? Like, not doing so in a sense of like, I'm going to change you. But I mean, it's good for them to know, look, I love and care about you. I don't want you to die. I don't want you to leave, Yeah. Maybe these things we can try to help. We can try to, what I'm saying?
You're doing too much already, though. Well, I do.
But it just seems like that should at least be said.
And it should. And again, thanks for co-signing my horrible behavior. I appreciate you. And again, I really thought I was moving out of love, and I was moving out of fear. Sure. And it is arresting to look back at the number of migraines I put myself through, the number of family functions I didn't want to be involved with, but I always showed up for because I am a middle child. I am the oldest daughter, and if Thanksgiving isn't happening, it's because I'm dead. You know what I'm saying? Like. I'm being dramatic, but I'm not missing it. I don't want to, I don't know. I think that my friend and I were talking about this the other day also. We were talking about how she essentially said, hey, on the first podcast, you sound like you don't care about sin. I was like, I don't. She's like, no, don't say that. I was like, okay, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I ultimately, like in a foundational principles way, I care.
Yeah.
In a what it looks like in my life, I care. But I don't care, as in it will not stand between me and the way I love.
Yeah, and the way that you just broke all that down, and I agree with your friend. Like the first time when we met and you kind of you said some of these things.
Yes.
And you didn't really
explain myself fully.
Yeah, or I didn't even give you a chance.
And it took me 4 hours to not explain myself fully. So.
Well, that's what I mean. We kind of moved on to other things. But now that you have, I feel like I agree with you in a sense. So even like, so to bring it back to things like abortion or LGBTQ, those kind of things, I'm not the Christian that says, you know, oh, if you're gay, I'm going to treat you different. I'm going to not love you. I'm going to somehow, you know, excommunicate you from whatever little club I think I'm a part of the self-righteous, like, or I'm a Christian, therefore I'm better than you. I don't think that's what Jesus does. I don't think that's what any Christian should do. I know many Christians do that. Yeah. Same with someone who's had an abortion and all that kind of thing. But I think kind of like what you were saying a minute ago about, you know, there's a question there. The first question to go there is like, is that right? And this is where it gets somewhat sounding legalistic, but you're like, is that okay or not okay? That's one question. Right. But then the follow-up question would be, does whether that's okay or not okay change the way you treat somebody or the way you love them or don't love them? And I think that's important, right? Because you get to the whole thing where a lot of times people say things like love requires acceptance. You can't love somebody unless you're accepting of every single thing that person does. And I don't agree with that. I think I can say I think abortion's wrong. I think abortion is murder. I don't think God's okay with it. I don't ever. Like, I just don't. That's my personal belief.
Yeah.
However, I'm not going to shame a woman who's had one. I'm not going to treat her any different or love her any differently if she comes to me and says, oh man, I've had an abortion.
So why are we having this continuous conversation about abortion then? What's the kind of like, what are we ultimately getting to in this conversation?
What I would say I would want to get to is I don't think it should be legal. I don't think it should be legal to kill our children for any reason, whether they're 5 or in the womb or 25 or whatever. Yeah. And I think that that's something that's worth fighting for, because I think that it's it's morally wrong. It's not even just morally. I mean, to me, it's society. What's the word? Societally? Is that a word? Societally. We just made it up. Yeah. We're making words on it. Yes. I've made words on here lots of times.
I love it.
Hey, do you remember this though? Because this is what I tell people when they say that's not a word. I say, dude, every single word that's a word was not a word before it was a word, right? Somebody made it up at some point.
Yes.
So I think it's even societally wrong because, again, in what other circumstance do we say it's okay to kill an innocent person? I mean, obviously there's self-defense. Somebody break in your house, try to kill your family, and you have a gun. Yeah, of course, right? Right. That's still killing somebody. Right. But that's not you're not just walking down the street and finding some person and say, hey, I don't like your face, and shooting you. Right. I mean, that's murder, right? Right. So to me, it's almost even worse in a sense when it's a child in the womb. But I know that's an argument because it's not a child, it's a clump of cells. It's like they have all that whole thing, right?
I mean, we could get into the quickening, we could get into bitter herbs from back in the day. We could go all over the place with that if we really wanted to. Yeah.
But what's your stance? Is abortion wrong or not wrong, or it depends on the circumstance, or like what's your kind of statement on that?
My statement on that would be that I do not. I feel like we got to take it in increments if we're going to do this, because I'm not going to give you an all or nothing. But day after pill, knock yourself out. Okay. Early abortion, go for it.
So when you say early, how early to
prior to the quickening?
What do you call the quickening? What's that mean?
Will you tell me what the quickening is?
I don't even know.
You know what the quickening is.
The Quickening is an album by the Vandals. That's all I know.
It's a term that was used in most older, like if you look at Judaism and stuff like that. Okay. If you look at when... also, we didn't have pregnancy tests back in the day, right? Mm-hmm. So the quickening is when you feel the baby begin to move. When the baby's live, essentially. When it is not just I don't know if I'm pregnant or not pregnant, or if I'm sick and need to take herbs so I can bleed.
But like, what makes it alive? That it's moving?
This is...
In your view?
In my view, the Bible, in my view, it would probably.
I feel like you keep putting on a bow tie every time you say it. In my view.
That's exactly how I feel, and it feels very dumb, just to be clear. Like, who cares about my view? But moving on.
I do, that's why I'm asking.
That's nice. I don't know. And the conversation makes me want to argue. Like, I want to argue, in this moment right now, I'd like to argue that a baby is not alive until the breath of God has been breathed in it.
Okay. And you see that as when they...
External.
When they breathe.
Outside the womb. However...
You don't think he breathes life into them?
I also think that... I don't know. I think there's a lot of nuance there. I personally, like, for me, like, a cutoff that I feel would be reasonable for abortion, outside of it being used as healthcare, right? Mm-hmm. Life of the mom, ectopic pregnancy. Outside of that, mine would be prior to the quickening. And again, as a person who... there's something about the idea of a baby who's never seen sin in the world getting smoked in a lady's stomach and going right back to her creator, that I'm not trying to be trite here, but is far less offensive to me than the kids on the streets in Santa Maria. Yeah,
that's what you said a minute ago.
I mean that full-blown whole chest.
But do you think that so this is my first question, because I'm going to go a different route, but the first question with that is, do you feel that every single person, regardless of age, when they die, goes back to their creator?
Yeah. What do you mean? Everyone got to be judged, right? Well, I don't know if it's right that second, or if it's like after, and then the dead in Christ will ride first, and then there's a lot. I don't understand exactly how all that works, but I do believe whether you have bowed your knee to the creator of the universe or not, you're going to stand in front of him.
Absolutely. Okay, good. Okay,
and
but when you talk about an aborted baby, do you think they say they go back to their creator?
That.
Do you mean for judgment?
No.
You mean like heaven?
No, there's no sin. How's that baby made a sin? Unless it just simply was born into sin, and that's what you believe, and therefore the baby's destined for hell until it accepts Jesus, which is a crazy line of logic for me personally. No, I believe that baby is an innocent. I also believe, again, and not to be trite here, it's wild to think about a creator who knows that baby's not going to live a life, but still would permit pregnancy. Like, if that was me, like, if I know you're going to smoke this baby, I'm not giving you the baby.
Yeah. But see, we could do that all day.
We totally could.
Right? If I was God, I would have done.
Yes. I also have to say this while we're talking about abortion. I understand the while we're talking about abortion, I feel like we should also talk about gluttony. I feel like we should talk about greed. I feel like we should talk about adultery. I feel like if we are going to legislate morality, if we are going to do that, then let's take it to the wall. Every buffet in town should be closed down, because gluttony is a sin, and it's going to lead to the death of you.
Correct, but the difference is those other sins are sins you commit against yourself.
So adultery doesn't break up a family?
Adultery is different. But if we're talking about gluttony...
Okay, well...
but you could even say that. If we say gluttony and we say, let's say I overeat and I die of a heart attack when I'm 30, and I leave my wife with her 3 kids, of course, is that going to affect my family? Of course that's going to affect my family.
But it's not, we don't need to legislate it, though.
I don't think we should legislate that, no.
You think we should legislate adultery?
That's a tough one.
It is.
Yeah.
All of this is a tough
one. I mean, it kind of is legislated in a sense, right? Because there's alimony. There's certain things that happen because of adultery. That's not because of adultery.
Alimony has nothing to do with adultery.
It's because of divorce.
It's because of time served in your marriage.
Right.
There are, like, states that are fault states where if a partner cheats, like, automatically the judge is siding with the maligned party or whatever. Yeah,
but think about it. If you're married, I mean, you are married. Think about if you were married.
Oh my gosh, if I was married. I've done it twice. So.
If your husband or my wife cheated on me, and then the only reason she wasn't going to do so is because it was against the law, I'd still have a big problem on my hands, right? Because the fact that she even wants to is a problem.
So wait. I just want to give me 1 second.
All right.
You're not wrong, right? And that's the same thing as Jesus saying, if you even thought about murder, you're committing murder. If you're even thinking about adultery, you've committed adultery.
Well, you've committed adultery in your heart, is what he said.
Which is a different kind of sin than the one you act out with your hands. I don't think so, sir.
Well, it is.
Let
me tell you why.
Please.
Okay, back to
yes,
again. Imagine you're married. Okay.
I'm gonna imagine
for the second time. And you have two options to choose from.
Okay.
One is that your husband has thought about committing adultery, and the other one is that he has actually committed adultery. And you get to choose which one of those. What do you choose?
I would rather have the adulterer out front in front of me. Absolutely.
You'd rather have him commit adultery?
Can I tell you why? Yes.
But is that your answer?
That is my answer.
Okay, yes. Please tell me why.
This is my answer. A secret sin continues to be a secret.
Right.
A secret sin grows and flourishes in a way that my brother ends up dead of alcoholism. That's what a secret sin does. It leads to shame. My sin, my brother and I literally talked about this the night of my sister's birthday. We were talking about how when I got pregnant with my son, I am on the back side of my first marriage and unmarried. And it's already shameful enough that I'm divorced, never mind getting pregnant also. And I told my brother, I said, I had to, again, as usual, deal with myself in front of God.
Yeah.
Because my heart was like this. I am looking around, and I know this guy beats his wife. I know that lady cheats on her husband. I know this girl has had 6 abortions. And you're all on the stage. I'm out here getting publicly reamed, the big scarlet letter on my chest. I am 100% being judged everywhere I go by this community of faith, while these people in their secret sins get to continue as if they are just and righteous.
Right.
And at the time, it made me upset because it felt unfair to me. And what I would realize is that was the mercy of God in my life to bring exposure.
Sure.
Because if I had not had to deal with my own ego, bringing it back to my own forgiveness, both of me and of all these people who really broke up my feelings, because why are my drug addict friends being cooler to me and more supportive than the church right now? This is crazy.
Right.
I will have to deal with myself in front of my creator and in a mirror and in my community.
Sure.
Because of that, the way my life looks will be forever changed. That exposure.
Right. Well, okay, but yeah, I'm with you. Okay, but hang on. So they're both secret sins in that moment, right? Whether
one of them is already out, was my understanding. One of them, the adultery, has already actually physically been committed previously in his life.
It's already been committed.
Yes.
But it's not out. You don't know about either one.
What kind of question is this?
Well, it's a hypothetical, of course. This is the way I work.
These are my favorites.
But I know. But think about it. Like what I'm saying is let's say your husband has thought about committing adultery.
I'm sure he has, my friend. Who hasn't?
Bingo.
Yeah.
But and then the second thing is that he actually has physically committed adultery with another woman. Okay.
Yes.
Now you say the secret sin you don't want. So I would assume you'd still rather have it be the thought that maybe he confessed to you and said, "Hey, I thought about committing adultery."
No.
You'd rather have him commit adultery.
So first of all, my understanding in the beginning of this question was this is him prior to us getting married. Was what I thought I was answering. Would I rather have a husband who had previously thought about ex-wife or previously been caught in adultery?
Nope.
Okay.
I said right now.
Okay.
As we sit here today.
Right now.
You get home from doing this podcast. And again, I'm never putting on this you. I hope this never happens to you.
No, I would rather.
You would rather have him
100%.
commit adultery
yes.
than have thought about committing
Do you know
adultery.
why?
I don't. That makes no sense.
There's so much less ambiguity.
Would you divorce him if he committed adultery?
Can't say I have no idea. I don't know. Have you ever?
Would you divorce him if he thought about committing adultery?
I don't know.
You don't think one's more likely that you would divorce him over if he actually did it or if he thought about it? You don't think there's one that you'd more likely to divorce him over?
I don't know his thoughts. I could only divorce him if he actually...
No, but if he told you his thoughts, is my point. You know that he's thought about committing adultery versus you know that he has committed adultery. Which one of those two...
I would rather know that he has committed it. I would rather it be either over and done with and all the way exposed.
I don't think you're understanding my question.
Than be something that's going to fester. I think you don't understand my answer.
I don't, but I think because your answer is not answering my question.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay, so here's the two scenarios.
Yes.
And this is right now as you're married.
Got it.
Scenario A
yes.
is that he has thought about committing adultery. Mm-hmm. Scenario B is that he has committed adultery. These are two separate situations. In the one, he's only thought about it. In the one, he's actually done it. And in both scenarios, he's told you about it. He's either come to you and said, "Hey, Amanda, I've thought about committing an adultery." And in the other one, he came to you and says, "Hey, I cheated on you with this woman I work with."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, between those two, if you had to choose which one you would rather hear, which one of those two newses would you rather hear?
I would rather find out my husband slept with someone
you
else.
Would. Than have him...
he has a private thought life issue that is going to turn into that anyway. And this is what I also think. I also think that stuff will reveal itself in time. And I don't know if I would... I have plenty of friends whose partners have cheated or who they've cheated on their partners.
Sure.
And there's a lot of nuance. And in fact, here's a good example. I always thought that I would be someone that would forgive and restore and rebuild like Jesus, right?
That's possible. I know people who have done it.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I also know people who tried to do it. We've been talking about one of them today. Who, I'm not going to say it messed up their whole life, but it kind of messed up their whole life. Like this, I have to be Jesus. I have to be a perfect forgiver. I have to get over this. Okay. Do you? Or like, or is it perfectly reasonable to be like, well, I'm going to separate myself from a person that's abusing me? Like, and also, I would rather him physically do it because then it's out there in a way that is easily consumable and digestible. Yeah. If I had to tell my friends that I am splitting up from my husband because he told me he thought about having an affair with Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah. Well,
that's the stupidest thing I've ever
heard.
It
is, because that's never going to happen.
Well, and because every man has thought about having an affair with Sydney Sweeney, and half the women. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think she's kind of funny looking, actually.
Okay. Well, pick a pretty girl, pretty boy, whatever. But yeah, I
see, because to me, like there is no debate in my mind. If my wife came to me today and said, "Babe, I got something to confess to you. I had thoughts about cheating on you." Divorce isn't even an option for me. It's not even on the table in that instance. There's just no way. I would be like, okay, well, let's talk about this. That's obviously a problem. I'm not saying that's not a problem. Yeah. But to me, that's not a divorceable problem. That's like you said, a lot of us have done that. We've had these thoughts. Thoughts are thoughts, right? Thoughts. But if she came to me today and said, hey, I have to tell you something. Last weekend, I cheated on you with this guy I work with.
Right.
Now, I'm not going to say for sure that's divorce.
Right.
But it's definitely more on the table now than it was in the other scenario.
I hear
for sure, 100%.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. For me, maybe the reason I would prefer it just be a full-blown action is like if it's interesting how far Jesus takes everything, like almost in a you have to be the thought police kind of a way. And while I'm not interested in being the thought police, I have been taught my whole life to quote, take every thought captive to the Lordship of Jesus Christ. I've been taught.
That's in a book somewhere, I think.
It is. It's in a book. I heard someone about God. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I feel like if I'm going to be cheated on, just cheat on me already so I can get over it. Right. Like, so I can get it over with, so I can move through whatever the next part of this is.
Right.
It is less ambiguous to me is maybe why it feels like I would prefer that.
Yeah.
Not because I want my partner to cheat.
Right.
Both of these are terrible scenarios.
And they're both terrible, yes. Yeah, for sure. And that's what I'm saying. Like, and I agree that they're both bad. I'm just saying that there's more, well, in a sense, like there's, back to murder, right? Jesus said, thou shalt not murder. He says, but I tell you, if you've hated your brother in your heart, you've murdered him already. But I tell you what.
It's me.
But hang on, right? If I'm the guy is having thoughts, hateful thoughts towards me, I sure hope he just keeps some thoughts. Oh, because if he murders me, that's going to change my whole life.
So then here's my question.
That's a different, right? Exactly, it's a different outcome.
You know everything very quickly.
Well, yes.
Be enlightened right now.
Right. Right.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting debate and it's a fun thought experiment, honestly.
Yeah. Because with abortion, it's the same thing. Like if someone thinks about having abortion, nobody's dead. There's no dead baby. If you have an abortion, there's a dead baby. So there's two different outcomes to the same scenario, not the same scenario, but the same topic.
As a man thinks in his heart, so he is. Is that not?
Yes, but that's not, if that means what you say it means, in the example I just said, it's not practically working out, right? Because if a man thinks in his heart that, or a woman in this case, thinks in her heart she's going to have an abortion, until she has the abortion, that baby's still alive.
So the words of Jesus...
No, I'm just saying you might be misapplying them because it doesn't make sense. If right?
This is what I think. I think that the application of those words, and again, I know very little. I am daily being instructed about how wrong I am about many things all the time.
Yes, me too.
But when I think about the way Jesus takes that leap of saying, this is physically sin. This is against your body, against yourself, against your neighbor, your community, whatever.
Right.
It's a no-no.
Yeah.
And then he takes it even further to the thought police experiment and is like, hey, but if you even thought about it, it's up for you. It's the same sin. You're going directly to hell for that.
Well, but okay, when I said you're misapplying, here's what I would say.
Tell me.
This is Ryan's interpretation of those kinds of scriptures. He's directly speaking to pharisaical minds, correct?
All of our minds? Okay.
Well, in this specific case, these are teachers of the law, people who are holding the law up, the physical things they do, the rituals they do as making them holy.
Correct.
His whole point is, you can keep all those things in your daily life, but if in your heart it's still you're still a sinner. Because they're trying to say, no, we're free of sin. We've done all these rituals. We've done all these ceremonial washings. We've done all this stuff. Therefore, we're sinless. And he's saying, no, if you hate your brother in your heart, you're a sinner.
Yes.
I don't think he's saying that it is exactly the same thing to think about murdering somebody and to murder them.
Okay.
Because in one scenario, the person's still alive, right? If I think about murdering somebody, they're still alive. Is death a real thing?
Is death a real thing?
I would think so. Physical death is a real thing, yeah.
Okay, our bodies could die.
Yeah.
Is there like
that's murder. You're murdering someone's physical body, right?
I hear what you're saying, and as a person with a lot of dead people, it feels like, and again, this is kind of a crazy thing to say, but like death almost is a construct. Death is a
I don't think the soul ever dies.
No.
I think the soul lives on forever.
Because the soul is alive.
Well, that's why I differentiated it. There's physical death. Is a real tangible thing that we all go through, except Enoch or whatever the guy was that didn't have to die.
And then Elijah got taken up too, right?
And Elijah, and then poor Lazarus had to do it twice.
Can you imagine? He's like, I just got over here. I'm resting. Now you people have woken me back up.
Yeah.
Everybody's crying. People are giving me hugs. I don't even like hugs.
Right. Yeah.
That's an interesting one. I don't know. Okay. I think that's an interesting, and I agree with you. I think that Jesus was taking it to a ridiculous point to point out the lack of holiness.
Sure. Yeah.
That is possible.
Okay.
I think that you're absolutely right. I don't think that Jesus really thinks you murdered if you... Well, maybe he does. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't say that he doesn't. But I do understand, and it is interesting to read the Bible as an adult and watch Jesus get a little bit frustrated. Watch Jesus pop his top a little bit.
Sure.
Like, it is and it's always interesting in the places he does, right? It is... It's when there's a lack of understanding, or it's when he's said it already and you're still not getting it. And it's like, God... That's me every time.
Yeah.
That's me every time. I could read my Bible 10 times and get something different out of every... It's the
That's
Kendrick
the
Lamar,
beauty
Taylor
of it,
Swift.
though.
It is. It's the most beautiful part about it, is that the surface of this story, while 100% true and accurate, is not all of it.
Right.
Because every layer you go is deeper.
Right.
And every perspective that you can see, every piece of context you get around... whatever was happening in the day and time, the play that's being quoted, so now you know what the guys are really being told. And
or just who you are as a different person 10 years from now, you're gonna read that scripture differently. The Lord's gonna minister it to you differently than he did 10 years ago.
Facts.
But it's the same exact words. The words haven't changed, right?
Absolute facts. No, but your understanding changes, right?
Correct. Yes. For sure.
Which again, I think is...
Yeah. Okay.
That's the good stuff.
Cool. What else did I write down here? Okay, so let's go back to this. Love the sinner, hate the sin.
Oh, let's do that.
Doesn't exist.
No, I didn't say it doesn't exist. I said it's anti-biblical.
Oh, you did say it doesn't exist.
Oh, okay.
It's recorded.
I'm sorry. It doesn't exist in that it is not biblical, is what I meant.
Okay, so you don't. So should we acknowledge what sin is? Like, should we?
Being who? We
just
being
like me and you, like anybody.
Anything except for exists from God.
Is there?
Next?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is there any sin that a person you love and care about is involved in that you feel like you should at least tell them about it?
Again, yes.
Not judge them as if you're not a sinner yourself, but
course. So, and this is again one of those situations where it's a difference between being in community and living your life side by side with people in a truthful way versus me seeing someone with a short skirt on the corner and calling them a whore. You know what I'm saying? That's I will also say this. My best friend and I were talking about this very topic, actually, because she was saying, like, well, it sounds like what you're saying is there is no sin, there is no reason to confront anyone. I was like, well, I don't feel there's really a reason to confront anyone. She's like, well, the Bible says to, you got to go to your da-da-da. And I said, okay, but that's talking about a believer. Yeah. And we're talking about the hierarchy of the church in this particular verse.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So I hear what you're saying. I said, and I would offer you this in return. When I got pregnant with Jack, did you come to me and let me know what a sinning whore I was?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
I already knew. Do you know what I'm saying? No, and the Spirit of God is so good that if I didn't know Jesus, I still would have known.
Yeah.
And it would not have moved me an inch closer to my Savior for her to do so.
Well, because by then you're already pregnant, though, anyway.
But even if I...
Do you see what I'm saying? Like let's say...
So we should have preventative care.
No. Well, in a sense, right? That's like saying, my friend died of a heroin overdose, and I went to his grave and I told him, hey, man, you shouldn't have done heroin.
Yeah, no, that'd be silly.
That would be stupid because he's already gone. Okay, so but if you were to go to him 3 months earlier and try to help him not be a heroin addict...
what if I got pregnant the first month I slept with this person?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
What if there was no opportunity for her to school me on my behavior?
Then you can't. That's what I'm saying. But if it was the scenario where maybe you came to her and said, hey, I'm thinking this guy wants to sleep with me, and I'm wondering, I want your advice.
Yes.
And she said, no, don't do that. You barely know this guy.
Yes.
That would be good advice to give, right?
But that is different than me going to you and saying, I need to call out the sin in your life.
Right, of course.
And again, not because we shouldn't be there to say to each other, this is not good, this is not healthy, this is not of God.
Yeah.
But because the purpose of me knowing what's right and wrong is never, for me personally, it's God help me to never let it be a metric by which I'm judging how great you are or not.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that already. We've already discussed that. I'm totally with you 100%.
Except that the scenario you keep putting me back inside of is one of judgment.
Well, but see, I think there's a difference, and this is probably where we're disagreeing, and that's why you just said what you said. But I think there's a difference between judging someone and talking to them about sin. I don't think that's always judgment. If you say, hey, dude, I really don't think you should cheat on your wife.
Yeah.
That's not judgment.
Okay.
Judgment to me would be like, you cheated on your wife? What a terrible, wicked person you are. I hope you burn in hell, you loser. As if I've never sinned before or something, right? That's calling the kettle black and the whole deal, right? And that's like the whole plank eye thing. And you know what I mean?
Speaking of a great band that we didn't talk about.
Great band.
I was literally in the middle of looking up music to give to you last time.
Oh, yeah?
And I had just let it run on, I think it was like Value Pack on whatever.
Oh, good one.
Great.
That's
and
not a good
also
one,
terrible, though. Looking back, the muddiest. I could barely understand the lyrics. You know what really holds Spider and Frenzy? Anyway, as we're going through, though, I'm like, it's created a station now, and all of a sudden I hear this song. I'm like, oh, I love that song. Who is this? And I look and I'm like, Playing God.
Yeah.
I forgot about
What was the song? Do you remember?
No, I don't. Oh, I wish I did.
Yeah, they have some great ones.
So many good ones.
They were even good after Scott Stiletto left and that other guy took over vocals.
I always enjoyed them.
Yeah.
Personally. But back to what we were talking about. I find the concept of calling out sin in one another to be offensive, but not amongst family, not amongst the community that I live in.
Sure.
My life is open to these women, and they know this.
Yes.
And I have when I say I live my life by a council of women, I have 5 to 8 very close friends.
Right.
5 of them are incredible women of God, and we've got a couple of sinners in there we're cool with. When I live my life openly with them, next to them, sharing what I'm going through with them, there are natural conversations.
Yeah, and that's the way it should happen. Yeah, I agree with you.
And that there is acceptable.
Right.
But I don't think
As opposed to a guy standing on the corner with a sign that says, sex before marriage is sinful. That's different than you building a relationship with somebody and finding out maybe that they're doing something, and then as that relationship develops, as the Lord leads, you have these conversations, things come out, things happen, as opposed to you standing on a little soapbox in the middle of Times Square
saying this is arbitrarily right, this is arbitrarily wrong, let me tell you about all of your sins.
Yeah.
Right. And that is also the difference in that too, is I think that when you are in a relationship with someone like that, I know when my best friend needs me to give her like a, hey, this is a hard no. Like, you're going to put yourself in a position you don't want to go back to.
Yes.
You remember where that was before. You know about this situation. Like, and also, you're going to do what you're going to do, and I'll help you pack your house the next time. Whatever.
Yeah. Right.
But the space that those conversations come from is a space of love and transparency. It's a space that I don't hide myself from these women, and they don't hide themselves from me. One of my best friends has, before I even knew anything was wrong, came to my house one day and was like, what's going on with you? I literally was like, nothing. Nothing? I'm good? She's like, you're not good.
Yeah,
I was like,
see, that's the best.
I think I'm good. And she's like, something's going on. And we sit together, and I'll tell you what, it turned out I was not good.
You see?
But not in a,
I think that's
your
the Lord.
life is so full of sin.
Sure.
It was you are hurting and there's something going on here.
Yeah. But it could be your life so full of sin too, right? The Lord could use somebody to tell you that too,
No,
right?
Why would, I mean, I guess he could.
But you don't think he ever does?
Like God convicts me all on his own. Not never.
Well, he could do a lot of things, but he doesn't. Like he
does.
But I'm saying he works in the ways he works, and we could always say, well, he could have done it this way. He could have done. You're right. He could have. But the question is, does he?
My experience in my Christian life, in particular where correction comes in particular where egg gets thrown back on my face as quickly as I throw it out, is God has rarely used my friends for that. It's often strangers. It is mostly me falling flat on my own face as a result of what I just said. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, for sure.
It is very, and I'm not saying you can't come to your friend and say like, hey, I have concerns about the path you're on, or hey, I think this is dangerous, or hey, I love you, are you okay? But I don't think that I think that God is completely capable all by himself to bring me to a point of repentance and restoration.
Right.
Should we as the church support that? Of course. Should we as Christians be there for each other?
Yeah.
Good, bad, and otherwise? Of course.
Yeah, so that's why I would go back to something you were saying a minute ago, and I wanted to
clarify.
comment. Well, I just wanted to throw this out, throw it out to you.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to you talk about all these things, and I kept thinking, yes, exactly. Because I think that all of that work that we're talking about, whatever it's conviction of sin or whatever it is, I truly believe it's all God.
Yeah.
It has to be God. But I'm not ruling out that God doesn't use people in those ways.
Right.
And you were kind of talking about, all the things that we do, and we're trying to be better or righteous or whatever. And an old pastor friend of mine said one time, he says, if you read the whole Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, you come away with two glaring things in there. The first is that the Bible teaches our inability. And the second thing it teaches is God's ability. Yeah. Right? Even with Jesus and the disciples for 3 years, they're traveling in the sleeping room.
They still don't understand. They still have no idea.
Well, but he was constantly telling them to do things they couldn't do.
Yeah.
And I take that and I think, okay, that's because he wanted them to come to him and say, Jesus, we can't do this. And he goes, exactly, you need to come to me for this stuff, right? I need to do it. Oh, we got 5,000 people here, not including women and children, and he said, you guys go feed them.
Right.
They run around for however long, they come back, hey, all we have is these little pieces of bread, and we can't feed all these people. Sit down, he says. Let me show you. You should have came to me and said, we can't, Jesus, you need to feed them. And then he's like, oh, boom, here you go. Just bread coming out of nowhere, right? Fish coming out of nowhere, right? Tuna sandwiches for everybody,
Delicious.
So it's just, and I agree with it. And I think you're right when you're saying that. So when we try to, quote unquote, attain righteousness or be good, I think we're spinning our wheels in a lot of ways. But I don't think there's anything wrong necessarily with going to God and saying, Lord, I need you to make these changes in my life. I need you to
that's the best way
minister to my heart and make me a different person.
Help me submit my ego to you. Help me submit all of the things that I think should happen to you. Help me see who the people are that are the marginalized. Help me figure out where to go in my life to show up exactly as you created me to.
Right.
To minister, and by minister I mean literally just show up and do degular life with people. I do not mean I need to sing a song of worship over my friend. I do not mean I need to pray in tongues and lay hands on you.
Yeah.
Not that there's wrong with any of those things.
Well, there's with some of them, but
okay, we can debate acts later. But my point is I don't believe that biblically speaking, it's the kindness of God that brings us to repentance. Jesus always gives dignity to the broken and sees the unseen.
Yeah.
I would like to be like that. And if by proxy of my presence being in someone's life, God reveals something to them, dope.
Yes.
Love that for you.
Yes.
It is not my responsibility to convince you
Right.
of your own sin or the goodness of your Creator. It is my responsibility to love God and love my neighbors. And it's so dumb, but those two things right there are life altering.
Right.
Like, even when you get into physics and science and stuff, when you start talking about frequency, when you start talking about the effect that we as people have on other people, there are measurable experiments about frequency and vibration, where there are certain emotions, love, anger, rage, sex, I don't know, maybe sex is an emotion, maybe lust, and they can essentially electronically or electromagnetically measure how much output or what the frequency of these emotions are.
Yeah.
What the scientists showed, what the studies showed, this is so crazy. What the studies show is when you are vibrating in joy and love, which are like the highest frequencies, right? When you are in tune with that, whatever that means, that the radius around you that is measurable can go for up to 3 miles.
Wow. That's nuts. So someone 3 miles away could potentially
feel the way
feel,
you love. That's exactly right. Could be changed by, no lie, by the love of God that lives in you.
Yeah.
By the way you choose to commit yourself, to your neighbors, to your friends, to your pastor, to your community, to your children. As Christians, I feel like we have given ourselves a bad name. We've given the gospel a bad name, and we have certainly given Jesus a bad name.
Yeah.
We would rather sit and debate theology than worry about the actual unhoused. You know what I'm saying?
But could you want to do both? Would that be okay?
No. Sorry.
You don't think debating theology is a good thing ever?
Not ever. I didn't say.
Well, that's
ever,
what I mean. Like, because I mean, I think you can do both, right? I mean, there's not. I don't think there's anything wrong with either one of those things.
I don't. I think that one is feckless.
Okay.
I think one is a waste of time. I think if you are like the teacher, if you're the pastor, if you are required to have apologetics in your pocket about speaking in tongues, and that's important to you, you knock yourself out and find you friends to go argue with. And the truth is, as a kid, I remember watching my dad go to my grandparents' house, and my grandpa was it's my dad's stepdad, and he just loved to argue. Politics, religion, literally anything. And my dad would go over there and wind him up so good and just give him a good argument. And we would leave, and I would be like, why do you do that? He's like, because your grandfather loves it. He loves it. And he was right. He was right. Yeah. And I will say this. Probably the people I debate the most with about religion and politics are probably my own parents.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's because the way I was raised was such a particularly wild... There are no limits to the way we are to love our neighbor. There is no limit to what you're supposed to give. There is not a top end. The example that was set before us was all love all the time. Yeah. Doesn't mean you forsake truth. It doesn't mean you forsake justice.
Well, because there's different there's different ideas of what love even is, right? Like when you're in 7th grade, you think you're in love with the first person you meet, so and then later on you get married and you see you love your spouse way more, or even in a different way. Like I would say in a real way.
Yeah.
I mean
it's the real world over here.
Exactly.
Now. Yeah. It's not like if you have cool jeans and they smell nice.
Right. Or somebody might love somebody because they give them what they want or something, right? Like, oh, this person buys me everything I want. Like, oh, I love him. Do you really love? Like, in other words, if he stopped buying you stuff, would you still love him?
Yeah.
Right? Because in a marriage, as you know, it doesn't work that way. You're not like, oh, well, you stopped doing this one thing that I enjoyed. Well, I don't love you now. Right. No, you still love them.
Yeah.
You might be like sad that you're not.
Part of that love is commitment, though, right? Like, part of that love is like, I straight up have decided that I'm here.
Yes.
Like, it is well, that's going to be a bummer.
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but.
Right, exactly.
But I still love this person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that if you want to debate theology, there are lots of good spaces to do that. And I will also say this. Like on the issue of LGBTQIA,
You get them all in there. I'm impressed. I usually stop at the T, Q. I stop at Q because I don't remember the rest of them.
I had to do it
What's
slowly.
IA? What's that again?
I have no idea.
Okay. But at least you knew the acronym.
I know the acronym. I know that it's a word that covers everybody who's not me, and that's cool.
You know what I don't like about it, real quick? I don't like the G, because the G is gay, right?
Gay is like an umbrella term that I feel like should get.
So why put it in there? You have lesbian.
Well, it used to just be
BT, right? Or maybe LGB.
It might have been LG.
Lesbian, gay, bisexual.
I think that's what it was when we were kids, and I think they added
the T
extra letters, which is why the IA is so hard to get in there, because we're like, dang, when we were kids, it was just LGBT.
Yeah.
Now it's LGBTQ.
But like people use the...
Well, queer is the Q, right? So queer is also another umbrella term in the way hip-hop is an umbrella term. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why we need all the extra letters.
Because people say things sometimes like gay and lesbian is a term here. Gay and lesbian. I'm like, wait a minute. Lesbians are gay, right?
I think so.
Just like...
But I think
homosexual men are gay, right? It's gay is a term that just means same-sex attracted, right?
I think so. Yeah. I don't
so
know.
it sounds redundant to say gays and lesbians.
It does. It does.
But anyway,
gays and queers also redundant.
Well, but somebody who is here that would understand that better, they do have. There's differences to them, right? They would explain queer means something different than gay.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Do you know? What
I don't know,
Dang it.
but I do know that I've seen. I just didn't retain it, but I have seen
My point
people talk
in
about
bringing
this.
up that entire alphabet mafia is that there are many theological schools of thought on affirming, and not just affirming, but like you can pastor.
Yeah.
So I think there's space for theological debates. I don't think those spaces are Facebook. I think those spaces are here.
Yes.
I think those spaces are you and a guy that you consider smarter than you, or someone who has more experience, or a different experience that holds to the way you love Jesus, the theology that you believe in. And then you say, okay, but how can you, like, by what means do you justify?
Yeah.
And how do you get from here to here?
Right.
And I've been searching for quite a while because there's a lot there. And it was so funny because I was trying to figure out, like, what is the nuts and bolts of, like, by what Bible verse authority do you... And the best part is when I am looking up, like, let's say the Lutheran Church or the Episcopalian Church, Episcopal Church, I'm looking up their views on LGBTQIA, what's it called? Ordination, marriage, all of it, right? I didn't see any, like, they're pointing back to Proverbs 18:12. I didn't see any of that. What I'm reading and what they're saying over and over is, we believe the gospel is for everybody. We believe no one should be excluded, not because of any reason. We believe you are a full member of this church and someone that's able to be a full member of the body of Christ. Yeah.
See, I would agree with all those things.
I understand. But would you be comfortable in a church that was LGBTQIA affirming? Would you be cool sitting under a pastor that was gay?
It depends on what you mean by affirming.
Affirming means a big fan of.
Means saying, but that's different than the first thing you said, because if you say the gospel's for everyone, I'm right with you, waving the flag. Yes, so absolutely, the gospel's for everyone. But it's just like the question is, right, this is the only thing that matters when you're debating this. Is living a homosexual lifestyle sinful or not? That's all that matters. That's really the only question that matters in this debate.
And this is where I would say it is a wild theological leap to answer that yes.
Okay. You don't think there's any scriptures that...
I think there's so many scriptures. Okay. And I think that the scriptures leave a lot of room for interpretation. I think that there are many schools of thought by scholars, people who know the original language, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I would be absolutely unwilling to call that person or their sin, right, or what may not be sin, depending on when we get there and Jesus lets us know for sure.
Yeah, but do you think there's any way...
I would be unwilling to call that an abomination out of my mouth.
Right. But do you think right now, as you and I sit here on Earth in 2026, is there any way for us to study Scripture so deep, whether going to the original languages or whatever, to truly find the answer to that question? Or do you think there's really no way to know, and that's why?
So the truth is, I have not spent... I'm 43. I'm literally just learning about love right now. You know what I'm saying? And I've been practicing it my whole life. My name, my first name means loved. or worthy of love, really, but who's worthy? Nobody. Anyway.
So you changed it.
No, I shortened it to the, like, if you look it up, they could give you the long version or the short version. I had little cards with my name on them that said both, but
right, gotcha.
One feels weird and arrogant, so I'm going to just say love. Yeah. I have literally been working on this concept for at least 20 solid adult years of my life. And I am just now able to wrap my head around how deep and pervasive of a teaching the teaching of love is, period.
Right.
I have not spent 20 years of my life researching all of the gay and lesbian issues.
Yes.
What I can see in scripture is space for a different interpretation than I was given as a child.
And I'm open to that. I'm totally open to that because
like
I want to know what the truth
but
is.
Also not open to it.
Well, because
but why does the truth of it matter to you?
Oh my gosh!
Like
really?
In what context? Yeah.
In what? What do you mean in what context?
Like
I think the truth is all that matters all the time.
Okay, but what does
that
it matter
should be what
to you
we're all
in like
seeking.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but as a non-gay person,
okay.
Outside of your ability to judge someone else or call them good or bad, like for what reason would you be dying to know the truth on this issue?
Because I want to know the truth of God. That's what I'm getting. Not so that I.
For what purpose?
Just to know it. I want to know all of God's truth. I want to know all of what He sees as bad and good. I want to know that adultery is a sin. I want to know that lying is a sin, right? I want to know those things, right? For sure. I want to know for sure. Is that really a sin, or is it okay for me to cheat on my wife? Because,
Do you think that the Spirit of God would convict you if you cheated on your wife?
I would hope so, yeah.
Yeah, I would think so too.
Yeah. Just like any sin.
Just like any sin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's too much air between here and the horizon for me to set my flag one way.
Right. Well, that's what I meant about being open. And I know you said, but you're open, but you seem like...
You're open, but it sounds like you're open because you want to know so that you can close.
Well, no. I'm open. What I'm saying is, in my study of Scripture over the years, right, and I've listened to a lot of debates about this topic, especially lately now, is all the people trying to say, oh, that verse in Leviticus, it doesn't say a man shall not lie with another man. What it really means is a man shouldn't lie with an underage boy. That's what the word means there, but it doesn't mean that.
Because the context of the sexual relationship is about power, right? When you're looking at the original word, if you're looking at, there's so many different words that describe love biblically, and when you look at the ones that are associated with rape, the ones that are associated with power struggles, or
there's no
how
word
the
for
men would come.
Love associated with rape.
No, there isn't. You're absolutely right,
Yeah.
but there is. But because one of the words is like a sexual version of
eros,
love, right? So,
which isn't even in the Bible.
Which is a fun one also. Yeah, I think that I hear what you're saying, and I have been as sure as you, and I'm just less sure in these moments.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm sure. That's what I mean about being open. If you were come to me and say, you know what, Ryan? Okay, so example, the one I was just saying. If someone came to me and said, you know what, Ryan? That word that's used in the Hebrew there, it actually means young child.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know what I do when I hear that?
Gosh,
I don't go, shut up, I've heard my whole life it's man, get away from me. That would be stupid of me to do that. You know what I do? I go and look at it.
Yeah.
Is that really what it means? Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah.
So then I go back to that person and say, where are you getting that from? Oh, I saw a TikTok about that. No, look at it yourself. Dig into the scripture. Is that really what that Hebrew word means?
And I think
because everybody runs with it.
Yeah.
And everybody's saying it now, and it's not true.
What do you think about the like Lot and the
terrible
angels? No, not like do you think it's good or bad? I'm not asking for arbitrary like is it good or bad.
No.
Is there any space in there? Is there anything about that story that like makes you quirk an eyebrow, or not in a way that would make space for potentially more mystery and less certainty?
Are we talking specifically about the angels wanting to have sex with the men of the town?
The men of the town wanting to have sex with the angels.
With the angels, yes. I messed that up in another podcast too. I flopped it. I don't know why I keep doing that. Yes, you're right. The men of the town wanted to have sex with the angels, so instead Lot says, here, have my daughters.
Yeah, but then when it talks about... what's crazy, though, is like...
Yeah.
And I'm going to refer to my friend's husband, Ryan, here, but when you're talking about the days of Noah... prior to the flood, the abominations on the earth. there's probably a variety of things we're talking about, right? Sin's pervasive.
Sure.
There's no good anywhere. But one of the things that's an abomination is what? It's the sons of the watchers and the daughters of men having children, right?
Oh, right. The Nephilim. That whole thing.
So now with that piece of biblical foundation work in your head,
yeah.
when I read the story of Lot, and I'm thinking about how there's not a single family worth saving in his village or the other village, and then I'm reading the chapter, the verse all the way through, and I'm looking at it, and it's talking about you're given to unnatural lusts or urges. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, that immediately provides space that we could be talking about a commingling of a heavenly DNA or a celestial DNA and an earthly DNA.
Yeah.
It also, when you get all the way to the end of that story, what God says about why Sodom and Gomorrah was burned is not just because of their sexual sin. It talks about how they treated the immigrants.
Yeah, that's not the only thing.
Aliens
the
and
whole,
their greed.
Yeah,
right?
they were all sinful all the time. It wasn't just the sexual sin.
Right.
Sure.
But I find it absurd that we talk as much about sexual sin and we talk so little about greed. Mm-hmm. We speak about.
See, we should talk about all of it, in my opinion.
I think so too.
This is the whole forest and the trees.
Yeah, absolutely. But here's where, I don't know. I don't want.
And I agree with you. A lot of Christians put homosexuality up here as some kind of pinnacle sin. It's the worst thing ever. I don't agree with that at all. I think it's so. Back to your question about the pastor. Would I feel comfortable? I would. First of all, I have to clarify. You said, would I feel comfortable going to a church that had a gay pastor?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But there's a difference between being gay.
Meaning happy? Hey,
No.
Just kidding.
Being same-sex attracted is different than living a lifestyle of homosexuality. There's a difference, right? So I would have the same problem as I would have a problem going to a church with a pastor who was sexually involved in a homosexual lifestyle. The same way I would have a problem with a pastor who was continuing to cheat on his wife and was unrepentant about it. Same concept. But if it's pastor who's
assuming that you are absolutely dead certain that this is sin.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, which again, if it's not, that's going to open the whole world up of this conversation anyway. Right. Not the whole world, but of this conversation.
Yes, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't trying to stop your thought.
Fine. You're totally fine.
So to me, it's the idea of living a lifestyle of sin that you're not repentant about. No different than a pastor who was a pathological liar, and anytime he was called on, he'd be like, "No, it's totally fine. God loves me anyway. God's fine with my lying. I'm not sinning. Shut up." Mm-hmm. I would probably consider not going to that church anymore. But if it was a pastor who cheated on his wife, or even someone who's same-sex attracted, but had said, and you're right, this does all stem on whether or not those things are sin, right? If adultery is not sin and the pastor cheats on his wife, who cares?
Well, that's another interesting thing. Should we talk about Solomon?
Solomon,
like the wisest guy ever in the Bible,
or David?
Right?
Yeah,
How do
of
those
course.
guys get? How do those guys get called a man after God's own heart?
Right.
The wisest dude that ever lived.
There's only one answer to that question.
And their sin is so pervasive. Well, it's the grace of God. It's the mercy of God.
And that God can see the heart.
Okay.
All we can see is the outside actions.
So then if David is your pastor, because God can see his heart, you should have stayed. But if you would have seen it from the outside in the way we're judging it by the rubric right now, you would not have sat under David. I
might have wrongly chosen not to sit under David. Because
being righteous was more important?
Because not being righteous.
Take it all the way back to where I came from.
No, but it's not being righteous. It's trying to discern and make decisions that are the best thing to make. Yeah.
And that's impossible.
Because it's like saying if there's a Satan worshiper who's leading a church, are you going to go to that church and just say, well, I can't see his heart? No, if you're not, if you're a Christian and you say, well, God sees his heart, maybe he's a man after God's own heart.
No, because you also have the gift of discernment. You have the Holy Spirit that lives inside of you. Right. You're missing huge elements.
And the same thing can be applied to if it's David.
So, you know what's interesting is like in the Bible when it talks about, like a lot in the New Testament, there's a lot of conversations about like, what do we, like even the disciples going to Jesus and saying, yo, there's this other homie out here.
Yeah.
We don't even know him. He's not affiliated with us.
What translation is that? I want that one.
It's my translation.
Yo,
sorry.
this homie be...
So there's this gentleman out here,
Yeah.
and he is preaching the gospel and
Yeah.
using your name.
Yeah.
What did Jesus say to his disciples? Let him be.
Yeah.
Let him be. He's preaching in my name.
Well, he's preaching
This
the
is
truth.
how you'll know.
Yeah.
And then it goes into, right, this is how you know what a good leader looks like, a trustworthy leader.
Yes.
This is what a righteous leader looks like. But I also like, and not to be crazy,
Yeah.
but we could look at real life. We could start calling out names of big churches right now and big leaders that have fallen
Oh,
and
for
such.
sure. Yeah.
But if you look at their life, right, it looks righteous until it doesn't anymore, until all the secret stuff comes out.
Yeah.
It is a very tricky thing for me to decide
And I agree with
who's
you.
righteous.
Yes, it's a very big decision, and it should be taken with a lot of prayer and consideration every
And
time.
you also should, that's also probably part of why we're directed to work out our own salvation. It's
With
why,
fear and trembling.
With fear and trembling.
Right.
It's why in, I want to say it's 1 John 2,
Yeah.
John says, hey, listen, literally after talking about the requirements for pastors, about what a righteous man looks like, about how you know other like Christians when you see them.
Yeah.
Then the next verse is like, also you don't need any of that because the Spirit of God lives inside of you,
Right.
will move you, will correct you, will guide you, will teach you.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
Those things are like, it's like they're diametrically opposed to each other. What do you mean? What do you mean? There's no man not righteous, no,
Yeah.
not one. Our righteousness is as filthy rags, but look for a righteous man to
Right.
lead you. But also he might not be righteous, but also you don't even need a man to lead you because the Spirit of God will lead you into all truth.
Right.
This is a lot.
Well, that
Do you
goes
understand
right
what
with
I'm saying?
work out your salvation in fear and trembling.
does.
But
It
yet it's not you
absolutely
that
does.
works, it's God that works.
And it,
Right? So that's the somewhat of a conundrum, because you're like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to do this, but only God can do this. So why, again, it's back to the 5 loaves and 2 fish. You go feed them. We can't. Exactly. Bingo. I'm glad you came to that realization after you spent 4 hours walking around trying to do it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's kind of what you said a while
people have
ago.
been hungry
It
for
took you,
days.
what did you say a while back? You said it
20
took you
years.
how many years
A minimum
to
20.
get out of God's way?
oh yeah.
Right? And that's kind of what we all need to come
It's,
to.
and it's more my own way. God was not waiting for me to move.
Yeah, because he could have
God
thrown
was
you out of the way
moving
if he
in
wanted
my
to.
life.
Yeah.
God was taking me through specific sets of circumstances that would put me in a space where I could grow and understand him better.
Yeah.
Where I could repent from my own sickness. Where I got to give up my control of everything and my need to mother
Yeah.
and make sure everyone is okay. It's interesting. It's a trippy thing to figure out. And again, Christianity feels like a practice, like medicine is a practice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yes and no, though. I think Christianity is. I mean, to me, the gospel is, and you can tell me where you think I'm wrong here if you do, but like to me, the gospel is step 1 is repentance, realizing that you are a sinner in need of a savior.
Okay.
The next step is receiving that savior, and now he dwells inside of you, and then the rest of your life is now going to be him working out that salvation in and through you, changing you, molding you, shaping you. It's not a matter of Christianity is a bunch of rules for you to follow. Now that you're a Christian, don't do this anymore, don't do this anymore, don't do this anymore.
Vote
But that
this
also
way.
doesn't mean we throw all that out the window and say, oh, I just live however I want to. Because I think the Bible's pretty clear, especially in 1 John, that if you are living certain ways, you might not be saved. Bingo.
Oh, no.
Bingo.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So,
Where does it say that?
Well, let me ask you this first.
Yeah.
And this is related, I promise.
I believe you.
So, in your opinion, okay, there's 2 questions here, and I don't know which one I ask first. I'm going to go with this one first. Do you think that all people are Christians?
Anyone who knows God, anyone who loves is born of God and knows God. That's my answer to that question.
So Jesus doesn't have to be a part of it.
Why would Jesus be a Christian?
I didn't say Jesus is a Christian.
Oh.
I'm saying like
Are you asking me if there's a way to get to God without Jesus?
Okay, good question. Yes. Let's go with that one.
Yes.
I was going to get to that one. There's a way to get to God without Jesus.
I don't mean that Jesus is not the propitiation for our sins.
Okay.
What I mean is that if I didn't speak English and live somewhere where I had heard the name of Jesus, I could absolutely still be connected to my Savior. 100% end of story.
But that Savior always has to be Jesus, in your view. Whether you call him the name Jesus or Jesus or Jesus or whatever.
What I mean is, I believe that someone can be connected to the divine.
Yes.
And a saved Christian.
Okay.
Without having ever heard the story of the gospel.
Okay.
Like, I'm taking it even further.
And I would agree with that. I would agree with that. So who then on the earth today would you say is not saved? Would you say anybody?
Anyone who rejects the gospel. Anyone who rejects the good news, right?
Well, what's the good news?
The good news is that there is a person that stands between us and judgment.
And that person
the good news is Jesus.
Okay, so...
But do we have to say his name for it to be true?
No, I don't. And that's where I agree with you. I'm just trying to make sure that we're saying the same thing.
I think we're on the same page.
So in other words, another religion, let's say, that doesn't believe in Jesus. Let's say Islam.
Okay.
Or Hinduism or Buddhism. Okay. Do you think those people, if they die, will be in heaven, or do you think that they will not?
What do you think about Catholics? While we're talking,
Catholics at least believe in Jesus. So to me, my deal with Catholics is this:
Jesus is the propitiation of sins.
That's my point. So whenever I talk with a Catholic, I will ask them where their atonement lies. That's my main question for a Catholic. If they say my atonement lies in the sacraments, in the Hail Marys, in the Rosary beads, then I'll say sorry.
Your faith is misplaced.
Correct. If they say no, my atonement is in the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ and His blood alone. Then I say, okay, some of my Protestant friends would disagree with that. They say, no, you can't be a Catholic and be saved.
Right.
I think that's ridiculous.
Right, I agree with that.
Because I think a Catholic, they're still believe in Jesus. They have pretty much the same Bible we do. They got some different books in there, but for the most part, the gospel's in there, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it depends on where their atonement is. But somebody like Islam, they would say, oh, Jesus is a good teacher. But he's not for salvation. Or somebody like Hindu doesn't even mention Jesus at all.
Yeah.
Their belief is way out there.
Do you think you could... I don't know the answer to that one. When the Bible says anyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved, I don't know that means Jesus. It might just be crying out to God in general. Do I think that the Christian Bible is correct? Yes. Is it the faith I've chosen to follow? Yes.
Yeah.
It is wild how many things in Islam and Christianity are very close to each other. It is a wild thing to look at the religions of the world.
Yeah. There's similarities.
And it's interesting that they all have a flood account. It's interesting that there is, and whether it is so that the masses may be deceived by an evil empire over here, or whether it is because we think we understand what is the most important pieces of the gospel, and I don't know.
But by the same token, you're right. You're going to find similarities, but the contrasts, especially the contrasts within things that are pretty stinking important to each belief system, are starkly different.
Okay.
Right? Like if Jesus says, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, no one comes to the Father but through me.
Right.
And someone says, oh no, my belief system, we don't need Jesus.
Right.
That's a contradiction, right? He either you either need him or you don't.
That would definitely be, especially if you're someone that believes the Bible.
Right.
I mean, that would be a pretty hard one, I think, to get around.
Correct.
Like, I don't think that would be that's a pretty easy one. I think it's a softball.
Sure. But I mean, that's my point. So I mean, obviously, if Jesus is truly saying that no man gets to the Father but through him, that's basically saying he's the only way of salvation, correct? And someone who believes...
saying, I'm the bridge to Terabithia.
Yes.
That's what he's saying.
Great movie.
Except I said the word wrong. Terabithia.
Yeah. It's
Terabithia.
What did you say the first time?
I don't know. I can't do it again. It's impossible.
Terabithia.
Maybe.
But I mean, if someone who doesn't have that, let's say Hindu or something like that, or even a Muslim, right? It's... What do you do with that? Jesus either said it and meant it and it's true, or it's not. And if what he said is true, then if your belief is in Allah or in Muhammad or in Krishna or whatever, that tells me that you're not saved. If you die, you are not going to be in heaven.
Do you think that if I think maybe you just took it a tiny bit step too far.
Okay.
I think that a sincere heart in front of God is very important.
I agree.
I think that it is ideal that we all know the tenets of our faith. It is ideal that I know that in this year, Jesus did this, etc., etc. But what if you've never been exposed to that understanding? Are you, like, if you sincerely are reaching out to God? Yeah. When you get to the gates, is God going to be like, you don't know my son's name, you can't be here?
No, I don't think that at all.
Okay.
I'll tell you what I think. So in Romans 1, it talks about how creation itself speaks, right? Like
that's exactly right.
Bingo.
That's exactly right.
But that doesn't mean that. So in other words, if there's people out in the bush country, that there's never been any Western missionaries. And this happens. You can see this. There are places in the world where no Western missionaries have been, yet they still believe in Christ.
Where they
still believe in Jesus.
Where they have full active bodies.
Yes.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And I think, yes, God does not need us to reach other people. But I don't think that means that just because someone, quote unquote, hasn't heard, because I don't believe anybody hasn't heard. I think everybody's heard in some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
God's going to reach out to every single heart and soul that's ever existed.
I think as long as you're not a Calvinist. I think that I think that's a reasonable line of thinking for most Christians that aren't Calvinists.
Correct.
Is what I should
Correct.
say.
Yes. Well, Calvinists would say that only the chosen are right.
Well,
exactly.
it's not even the chosen. It's just that God knew beforehand. It's less about being chosen and more about the foreknowledge.
Well,
I mean, not that he didn't predestine those who he called. I'm not skipping that verse, but what I'm saying is, like as a larger thought experiment, it is less about. Not that there aren't an elect,
right?
But it is more about God already knew you would reject him, and therefore.
But see, I agree with that. I think that is true. I think he knows everything in your soul that will reject or receive. But I'm not a Calvinist, because the main stem of Calvinism is that, again, that you're elect. You're either elect or you're not. Mm-hmm. And I have one of my closest friends is a Calvinist.
Same.
And he says this all the time. He says, no, here's the scenario. It's we're all born on our way to hell. All of us, because of our sin nature. We're all born on our way to hell. And God's just choosing, picture of like a stream that's leading towards a waterfall, right? That leads to hell. We're all born into this river that's on its way. And God chooses some of those people, pulls them out of the water. Just some.
I have such
And it's totally justified, he says, because
God already knew.
Because we're all going to hell anyway. So who are we to tell God who he can't pull out of that thing? You can't, if you're one of the ones he doesn't choose, you can't say, God, you're unjustified because it's my own sin that's sending me there. It's not God that's sending me there.
Right.
That's what they would say.
Right.
I'm making the Calvinist argument, even though I don't agree with it.
I know. I had sent my son to speak to a friend who was a Calvinist, and after my sister had died, my son was really broken up.
Yeah.
And I sent him to speak to my friend, and when he gets out, my son is very pissed off at God. And he's like, so God killed my auntie. I was like, no.
Oh my gosh.
That is not what happened. He's like, no, that's what happened. God knew she was going to die because God knows everything. And so, and you know, it's the same thing as not kissing before up to your wedding. It's like this extrapolation that happens that's like, if this is holy, then surely this is even holier.
Right.
And so it's like, well, if God knew my aunt was going to die and didn't do anything to prevent her death, then God killed my aunt, right? And this is the mind of he's 23 now, so he's like 13, 12 at the time. Mm-hmm. And the theology that he's understanding from our friend, the Calvinist, has him coming home being like, it's middle fingers up to the big guy because that guy killed my auntie. And I was like, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. That is not what happened. And then I go to my friend and I was like, Aaron, are you being serious right now? He's like, what? I said, Jack just came home. And he's like, well, God killed my auntie. He's like, I did not say that to him, Amanda. I did not. I said, I know you didn't. It's the Calvinist thing. He's like, but I was like, it's hard to explain to a child in a way that
it is.
That makes God sound like a merciful and loving entity. And again, there's space in Christianity for people who believe there is an elect.
Right.
And there are verses that they could take to back up their own theology in the same way there are about LGBTQ stuff or any other.
Well, and I don't think because you're a Calvinist it makes you any less of a Christian, right? I'm not going to say.
Do you think it makes you less of a Christian to be gay?
No, to be gay? No.
Okay.
But so
to act on the sin of being gay.
Here's the question. Here's the only question that matters, right? When it comes to these things. There's a difference between a person who's a professing Christian, who's in any kind of a sinful lifestyle. I don't care if it's what it is. Doesn't matter what it is.
Smoke cigarettes. Go ahead.
Well, that's nowhere in the Bible. Show me a scripture that talks about smoking cigarettes.
We could talk about the body being a temple.
No, there's
probably several extrapolations we could get to.
Those are verses that people are using to say something like you shouldn't smoke cigarettes.
Okay.
I think that's ridiculous.
Okay.
I really do.
I cannot wait.
So
I'm calling my mom
stupid.
and telling her to call you.
Yeah.
My new friend said.
Now, I would tell you not to smoke cigarettes because they're bad for you.
Live a long life,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
It's abuse of my
Bingo. Not because it's sinful. I don't think it's sinful.
But is it not sinful for me? Doesn't the Bible talk about like ruling your own body? Doesn't it talk about?
Yeah, but what does that mean?
It means.
What if you're addicted to a TV show? What if you're addicted to all that stuff?
It's all the same.
And I think those are all things that we need to consider in our own lives. But those are things that are not explicitly stated. The Bible does not say don't smoke nicotine or don't smoke tobacco. I mean, like it's not. It doesn't say that.
Right.
You might be able to use a verse that way, but there are verses that are very explicit about things. Don't do this. Don't do that. Oh, okay. Wow, that's it's pretty there.
It is, but also there's some nuance.
There could be. Or we could add nuance that's not there because we're trying to...
Isn't it the worst trying to figure out which one we're doing? Isn't it the worst?
But I mean, if the Bible says not to murder, what nuance can you have with that?
I don't know because I don't know.
Well, there's none.
No, you don't know that there's none. There's none in your mind.
Nope, no
because
nuances.
you have a human mind.
You don't murder. Here's what they would say. Some might say, "Oh, well, what about eating meat then? The Bible says not to murder. Why are you eating meat?" Well, because somebody that says that doesn't understand what murder means. That's what it is.
Okay.
There's a difference between murder and killing. In fact, it's two completely different words in the Bible, right?
Okay.
I mean, in the originals. It's not even the same word. Murder is different than killing, right? Because the Bible is obviously, in many instances, it's killing
men,
somebody.
Women, children, everybody gets to smoke. Yeah.
Well, you're talking about when God did that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a different conversation on what God can do versus what people can do.
Okay.
But I'm talking about, like, if we kill an animal for food, that's not murder.
Okay.
That's what the Bible's talking about. Nor is it if I'm killing somebody in self-defense. Again, if someone breaks in my window trying to hurt and kill my family, and I take him out.
Does the Bible speak to self-defense in the context of murder?
Yeah.
What?
Doesn't it?
I don't know. I'm trying to think about it right now.
Tooth for tooth?
I think that is
It's a stretch.
Well, no. I just think that's I think that was. It was, you have heard it said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
Right.
Meaning Jesus is quoting something else, a tradition of the time, the Old Testament.
Yeah, that was Old Testament.
The local movie they read on Thursday, whatever cultural context he's bringing in, he's bringing something in.
Yeah.
I don't think we should murder, but what I do think is sometimes things look really simple and straightforward in the Bible, and when you look at them through the eyes of maturity and you get some additional context, there's clarity that's provided that just means something slightly different. Does it change the context that you shouldn't murder? No, it doesn't.
Right.
But like turning the other cheek type stuff. Like,
sure.
When you study the cultural significance of what was being said by Jesus in those moments, it was never turn around and let someone absolutely have their way with you.
Correct.
It was culturally in our day, if someone slaps you on this side of your face, it's a shame to you. If you give them the other cheek, it's a shame to them.
Right.
And you're taking the, and then the cloak, and then the mile, and you go 2 miles, right? And I always read those things exactly straight as they are, meaning I will give my jacket to anyone. I will give anyone my money.
Of course.
I have lived my life in a way of generosity, but when you study the scriptures, that's not what that passage is talking about. That passage is talking about justice. That passage is talking about when the Roman soldiers come for you and say, hey, give me your shirt, and it's the law that you do so, you also say, not only will I give you my shirt, but I'm going to also give you my cloak. Because then now the person that is disrobed has been dishonored by the person who's got his robe.
Yes.
It's like if
Keeping
you take it
hot
this far,
coals on your head.
I'm going to take it further.
Right.
If someone does something unjust to you, let it get so big that the justice then comes back on them.
Sure.
It wasn't what I was taught, which was suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah.
Just
be misused your whole life
and be abused and misused. That's not what God's saying.
Right.
And while I don't think that in the case of thou shalt not murder, I don't know what context there could possibly be. I have not done enough studying on it or asked enough people to know the answer to that. I can tell you that for sure.
Right.
And the one thing I know is I'm perpetually wrong or being adjusted. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like just the.
But it also sounds like you don't. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it sounds like you don't really think that's ever a place we could ever get.
What? Where?
With studying scripture, is there any? Do you think we could ever get to a point?
Do you think arrive?
Not arrive like completely, but do you think there's ever a point in life where you could come to a point where we could say, yes, that's guaranteed 100% what that scripture says and means. End of story.
Oh, that's such a good question. God, I don't know. I genuinely have never.
Not all of scripture.
Right.
Because obviously there are many scriptures that are very.
There's a lot.
They're very
difficult to understand.
Or just very open-ended. It doesn't really give a direct thing. It's just like, oh, well, there's this. And that's right. And that's why we have 47 million different denominations, by the way, because they say, whoa, we think this verse means this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, and I understand that. I'm not trying to say the entire Bible is factually, understandably a list of
Like
things
black
we
and
can
white.
know, black and
Yes.
white. But some of it is.
Some of it is.
So-
and I would argue this, that I think that's the difference between the Christianity that you get as you are a baby Christian,
Yeah.
when you see as a child and you think as a child, but when you're a grown up you put away childish things.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
when your kids are viewing a situation that's going on in their life, they're like, Johnny's being mean to me, and you're like, hey, Johnny's a little psychopath.
Yeah.
Johnny's gonna light his future partner hair
right.
on fire.
That's
this
right.
is what you can't see about all the other things about Johnny.
Right.
Or this is
But
why
don't
this
kill
young lady,
Johnny.
Don't kill Johnny. Don't kill Johnny. I love it. But I don't know. I think
Yeah.
that I'm sure there are plenty of plot points that we could point to
Yes.
as absolute hard truth.
Yeah.
If you need to do so.
Right.
I don't feel the need to be able to, like, I have seen the truth in my own life.
Mm-hmm.
I've been walking with Jesus for long enough that I am convinced that he is so faithful, he is so true, he is so about his word, he is so the man he said he is, or the spirit entity he said he is, that he's going to do and come through for me in every single way.
Mm-hmm.
There's not been a lonely, terrible, heartbroken path I've walked without this guy.
Right.
The tenets of my faith I feel very secure about. It is in a moment where that starts to express out of me that I concern myself.
Yeah.
Because it's not what gets put into me that defiles me. It's what comes out of me. And I know the Bible says out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks.
Yeah.
And I want my heart to be in submission to my Maker.
Yeah.
And not only that, though, what I also know as someone who has walked through some horrific, some things of my own doing, some things of other people's doing, some horrific things, what I know is that it was never the condemnation of God that brought me back to him.
Right.
Not that there wasn't correction.
Yeah. Not that he's not right in condemning us,
Not
because he
that
would be.
100,000,000% he would
But it's
be.
his grace and mercy that leads us. Yeah.
And because of how wrong I have been about
Yes.
so many things
Right.
historically, I am unwilling to sit
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And not because I don't believe in right and wrong. Not because I don't believe in justice. Not because when I leave here I might not make a phone call and my top of my head might blow off and I might, have to call them back and apologize an hour later after getting mad or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? There's not a achieving of perfection. It's a continuous working out of what Jesus has done in my life, what that looks like, feels like, and how I would like the community that moves around me to experience that same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, two last things since we're again running low on time. Man. It's almost like we could talk forever or something. It is. So, real quick, you said something along the lines of to be a Christian and dedicating your life to Christ. Did you say to be a Christian you don't need to dedicate your life to Christ? Or you said something along those lines.
I don't know. I have no idea what you're even referring to. My brain is.
So within salvation, to get saved, to receive Christ, whatever terminology we want to use there, do you think there's any kind of dedication to Him? Any kind of?
I think there's submission.
Submission. Okay.
Submission would be the word, but then the submission is where your forgiveness comes from, right?
Yeah.
And then, in just the same way as you begin to walk out your life and see what that looks like, it's like, oh, this creator is very good.
Yeah.
I'm learning things I've never learned before. I'm healing in ways I've never healed before. I'm experiencing peace for the first time in my life. I will dedicate myself. I will purpose in myself to follow in the footsteps of this doctrine, man, God, whatever you want to, whichever kind of line of, as a baby Christian, you might take on that.
Yeah.
I think at least I dedicate myself to God.
Yeah.
I try really hard. In fact, the amount of praying and meditating I did before coming over here today is outrageous. It's been days. I've been like, God, guard my mouth. Don't let me be a jerk. Don't let me say a bunch of stuff that's gonna.
Well, we're not going to talk about ice anymore, so we should be okay.
We're not going to talk about what?
Ice.
Exactly.
The only ice today is the ice blended into your chai. That's the only ice we're doing.
God.
Okay, so the last thing I just wanted to go back to kind of where we started with we were talking about Kid Rock, and you started to go down a direction. I thought, I'm so glad you're saying that, because to me, the whole thing with the whole people in Bad Bunny's anti-American and blah blah blah, all this stupid idiot, it's so dumb to me. It's so dumb to me that people would tune in. First of all, they would decide they're not going to watch Bad Bunny. First of all, not because they know anything about the guy or his music or anything, but because all these right-wing commentators and everything says, he's anti-American, he's not even American, he's Puerto Rican.
First of all, I can't. I'm going to get so mad. See, you're trying to piss me off right before the end of this.
But I agree with you. He's Puerto Rico is an American, it's
territory.
Bingo. So it's all of it's so dumb, okay? So I watched both. And I tell you, most Christians totally disagree with me on this. I was more offended by the TPUSA halftime show than I was by Bad Bunny's performance.
What happened at the TP? What was offensive?
Okay, I
watched parts of it, but I wasn't.
Here is my biggest beef. And you're gonna. I know. I love it.
I'm already gonna be with you. I know. I
don't think you are.
We're gonna. Oh no.
I don't think you are.
We're gonna fight.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna be with me, and I think a lot of Christians aren't with me on this. Really. I have a harder time with people that profess Christianity yet purposely live a lifestyle that is contrary to Christianity.
Direct opposition.
Yes, than I do to someone who
never claimed to represent God.
Bingo.
Yes.
I would rather watch Eminem.
Yes.
Just have foul lyrics and talk about horrendous things and not claim to be a Christian than I would someone who wears a Jesus t-shirt and acts the same way. That drives me up a stinking wall. So you got the first act comes out, Brantley Gilbert or Weber, and I know you and I disagree on profanity and all this kind of stuff.
I saw an interview with him where he was talking about when he got invited to do the halftime show and that he did not do it because of the controversy that he did. He's literally like, they offered me a Super Bowl halftime show. I was like, well, not really, sir, but okay. An alternate, but okay. And he's like, but his thing was like, I want my kids to be able to see me. Like, this is an awesome opportunity for me. Sure. I'm not trying to push into the divisiveness, which I appreciated seeing.
He wasn't trying to be political about it.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was just like, I got the opportunity. I'm taking my shot.
Right. And again, I know nothing about him. I don't know his music or anything. Yeah. But I'm watching this, and again, you have, and again, profanity, I know you and I don't agree.
Yeah, that's fine.
But if you write a song that has the word praise Jesus, and then in the next line you use profanity.
Right.
I'm kind of like, dude, what? And I said this.
Especially if the Christians are the ones subscribing to it. If you were like a secular artist and you're like, this is the line I take. Yeah. I am a foul-mouthed son of you know what.
Yes.
But I really have a relationship with the Creator and I love Jesus.
Right.
I would have more respect for that than you purporting yourself to be a bastion of Christian ideals.
Correct. Yeah. So when I'm making this critique, I have people going, well, but Ryan, he censored himself. So I know you didn't watch it. So he did. He doesn't say the word. Oh. But you can tell what he said, and it's his song. He wrote the song. Yeah. So my issue is not that he performed it at Super Bowl halftime or he said it on national TV.
Alternate Super Bowl
halftime. My issue is that you wrote a song with the words praise Jesus and then profanity. That's like saying you're a vegetarian who eats meat. Mm-hmm. It's contradictory. It doesn't make any sense, right? And so I have such a hard time with that. And the fact that so many Christians are just like, oh yeah, we got to watch the TPS because this Bad Bunny guy, he's anti this and he's not this. And this alternative is better? Like you said, Kid Rock, really? The guy that has lyrics?
I can tell you lyrics to at least 2 more of his songs.
I know, they're terrible.
Outrageous.
Yes, yet he has other lyrics where
you
you're
don't
like,
even have to look it up.
Christian.
You don't have to. You don't have to put it into a, hey, can you tell me what this says? Right. You can read it in English.
I know.
Bro.
That's my point.
And you're still going for it.
And that's the point. Is like, and people say, and I say that, like I just said, the Bad Bunny one was less offensive. They say, well, Ryan, did you look up what it means in English?
That he has multiple girlfriends.
No, that's not my point. My point is what I'm hearing into my ears. Mm. And again, like I said earlier, I understand if you have a household where they all speak Spanish, maybe that's more offensive because you're hearing
in your natural language. Yeah.
But for me in my household, we don't speak Spanish. Bad Bunny was less offensive. Mm-hmm. Even the dancing, like, dude, there's been so much like provocative dancing and stuff in these things, dude. Totally, yeah. There was some butt shaking, of sure, but they weren't twerking. They weren't. They weren't like immodestly dressed. They were
dressed like the people of their culture, and they danced in the way they danced.
Yeah.
I was laughing at the end of that show because my mom had stayed in the room with me, and when we were talking about it afterwards, we were talking about the parts we liked and didn't like, and I said something about the provocative dancing. She goes, "Oh, that doesn't bother me. People have danced like that forever, Amanda. Like, I'm not new." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I like really thought that was going to be the most offensive part of the whole thing,
right.
Especially because you don't speak Spanish.
Right.
I find it. I'm with you.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
And I also, just to take it a step further, I always believe that taking God's name in vain was saying a certain number of curse words together. Mm-hmm. First one starting with God.
Yeah.
And what I have learned throughout my life is I do not believe that to be taking the name of God in vain.
I agree.
I think purporting this to be a Christian event and putting someone who has nothing to do with Jesus on the stage is profaning the name of God. I think that using any sort of theological knowledge or understanding to subjugate someone,
right.
to put them into a place where they are underneath you. Because again, scripture's always building, not breaking. It's like the way love is expansive, right? Love, you're not going to love less. It's as you learn how to love, you just love more and more and more. It's like your second kid. You're like, well, I don't have enough love for you. No, my heart has expanded.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I could love anyone more than this baby who was here.
Right.
I was worried I wasn't even going to like you when you got here, and look, I'm in love with you. Yeah. I could never love you more, except tomorrow when I meet you and now you can smile, I'm going to love you even more. And that is how love works, right?
Yeah. And even if they do something bad.
Yes.
It's not like you love them any less.
No,
you might be angry in the moment.
Yes,
but
I might be angry in the moment. I might call my kid. I might use profanity a time or two in my life. I might have to apologize later. And they might also, which is the beautiful thing, right? But the profaning of the name of God is using God's name.
It means for nothing.
To suit your own whatever.
Right.
Whether it is your agenda of the right versus left, whether it is your agenda about holiness at halftime, or whether it is the previous school that my kids went to, using the Bible to direct these children to become little robots, which also profanes the name of God.
Yeah.
God didn't create every single one of us as individuals to be gifted, talented, set into the places that we were set, into the communities, whether faithful or not faithful, that we're moved into, to look alike, to sound alike.
Right.
That's craziness, bro.
Right.
Like you're stripping away literally what these kids were created for, and you're using God's word to do so. I'm already uncomfortable with the idea of Judgment Day, and I literally take myself to Jesus every day and ask him to search me. God, do something new in me, dig out the old stuff. I want a new understanding, not like I want new theology, but I want a deeper relationship. Like, if this is what I know now, push me further, take me somewhere new, take me out in the deep waters. I've really enjoyed today. I'm sorry I cried so much.
No, that's fine. That was a deep topic, man. That was heavy.
And
I'm gonna put that disclaimer in the intro. You guys might want to get your Kleenex out for this
Amanda
one.
cries for 2.5 hours.
Well, not only do you cry, but you talk about things that are probably gonna make other people cry.
Oh,
I mean, that was heavy. That was a big. I mean, not just your situations that you were dealing with, but what you learned through that. That's huge.
And that is the faithfulness of God, though. Like, because I could really be out here thinking I'm doing my best, thinking I'm showing up as a Christian and doing the right thing, trying to save you over here. And it would turn out I needed the saving the whole time.
Yeah.
Isn't that just like God to just flip it on its head and be like, hey, it's you. You're the problem. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and thank God for it, because I couldn't fail my brother the same way I failed my sister.
Yeah.
And ideally, I don't fail anyone else again the way I failed my brother. Ideally, I find new and interesting ways to fail. Ideally, Jesus picks me up every single time and dusts me off and says, hey, you almost had it. I'm going to set you back right, and you're going to try again.
Right.
Like, and this time you're going to have this understanding or this knowledge. I prayed for wisdom my whole life as a kid. I heard the story of Solomon dividing the babies with the sword.
I love that one.
Dude, that story rocked my world so hard that I literally
too.
spent every day of my life praying for wisdom as a child. Yeah. And to some degree, I have some wisdom. But what I never understood was why the Bible says, now get understanding. Feels like the wisdom should be enough, bro.
Right.
What's the understanding about? Oh, the understanding. The understanding is where it becomes life-changing and undoes all of you.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Thank you. This is awesome.
Yeah.
This is a blast. Like, seriously, I know you keep like almost apologizing for yourself, but I'm like, no, these are the kind of episodes that I like.
I'm trying to tell you the truth.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, you're not. And again, I've only hung out with you twice, but I mean, what I would say about you is I don't think you're trying to hide who you are.
No.
I think you are. Here I am. Love me or hate me, but at least you're getting what I am, right? So I appreciate that.
One of my neighbors texted me the other day, and he's like, "You ever heard that song, One Girl Army?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah," and he goes, "What do you think about that song?" I said, "That song's written about me." He's like, "I knew it."
But the Five Iron
Not
Friends
really,
song?
but yeah.
Oh yeah.
She is strong but never silent.
Yeah,
Sure
yeah.
of where her truth comes from. That's me. All
Isn't
day.
it about Mary?
Until I don't know.
I think
it's about me too. That's
Yeah.
what I know. I never even heard it about Mary. I don't know. That's what I know.
Oh man.
Yeah, and it's also hilarious because it's like, as sure as I am, every time I open my mouth, the correction of God is fast, and the adjustment comes quickly. Which again, I'll be thankful for to the day I die.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to walk around besmirching the name of my Savior. I don't want to walk around with a lot of great ideas in my brain and no love in my hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
So correct me, direct me.
Yes.
Move me, clean me,
Right.
and then set me back out to exhaust myself for all these people again, because that's ultimately what we're here to do.
Right.
And I'm highly into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a trip. It's like 5 steps forward, 75 steps back. Undo everything you thought was important. Like not that it's not important, but it's like there's some things that supersede here. The laws of love are higher than any other law.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
That's weird, because I was not that I was taught to be like religious in nature. Again, my parents were the best. But just somehow through our own nature, I want to make it right by myself.
Yeah.
And if I can follow these steps and if I can stick closely enough to the plan, I'm a good Christian. And it turns out we're the worst, which is the best news, because where we are short, that's where God fills in the gaps.
Yeah.
And where I can't, that's where something supernatural comes into play.
Right. Right.
And thank God for it.
Yeah. Faux show.
I almost feel like we should pray. I almost feel like at the end of this, like we should be like, well, God, thank you for this. Thank you for this service today and bringing us together.
Thank you so much for checking out another episode of this podcast. I would greatly appreciate it if you would share this podcast with everyone that you know. And if you know anyone that wants to come on the show, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at whycan'twetalkaboutThat@proton.me. Thank you.
Speaking of other things I'm interested in, sci-fi. Well, that my dad's interested in. That I
were you
was forced to.
Were you a Trekkie or a Star Wars person? Or
both.
Okay.
So Trekkie was like daily, right? Like we're watching Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah.
Take the Enterprise starship wherever he's going. But we also love Star Wars in the house.
Yeah. Bethany grew up as a Trekkie with her dad. I've seen a couple episodes and I've seen some of the movies, but I never really. I was more into Star Wars.
They're so good.
Yeah. That's what I hear. People are Trekkies.
Allegedly.
They swear by it.
I mean, they were when we were kids, but I don't know what else there was to watch, honest to God.
Yeah.
Like, that might have also.
Right.
If I think about it, really.
Alf. Alf was the best alien show.
Alf.
Yeah.
No, not the best. Well, maybe because you couldn't consider her
or Out of This World.
I was gonna go Small Wonder.
Small Wonder.
Well, she's a robot, not an alien. So does that count?
No, she's not an alien. She was
what about
created.
The Secret Life of Alex Mack? Are you?
I never saw that one. Isn't that Larissa? What's her face?
I don't know what her name is.
The girl from 10 Things I Hate About You, right?
It might have been. Yes.
Isn't that the actress?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
And it was only a couple seasons, I want to say, but she had some sort of a biological thing where she could melt herself down like into a puddle.
Oh, nice.
And go invisible and go under the door.
I didn't even know that.
And all that stuff. It was very.
I didn't even know she had
very cool
secret powers.
It's The Secret Life of Alex Mack. What did you think?
Okay, I don't know. I thought maybe she just had a crush on a boy or something. It was like, this is my big secret.
Making the best TV show.
I'm in love with James.
What? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.